American Craftsman podcast is sponsored by Hayfla. Hayfla offers a wide range of products and solutions for the woodworking and furniture making industries, from hinges and drawer slides to connectors and dowels, sandpaper, wood glue, shop carts, and everything in between. Exclusive product lines such as Lux LED lighting and Slido door hardware ensure that every project you create is built to last. Learn more at hayfla.com. All right, welcome to the show.
Yeah, it's a good one today.
It's always a little funny sitting through the intro when there's a guest on who hasn't been on the show.
Patiently waiting.
There's all this anticipation, like, okay, when's it gonna start?
Yeah, we got a special guest today.
Yeah, joined by our buddy Jim of Jammal of Jammal Upholstery.
Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate being on.
We're glad to have you. Yes, we started talking about this. Must have been what, like was that a month ago? We were up dropping off those banquettes.
Yeah,
flirting with it.
Yeah, time flies. So yeah, we were dropping off. I think we had probably talked about it. Dropping off that 43-foot banquette,
43 foot and 1/4 inch.
Yeah.
From what they say, but I honestly think it was 43 on the dot. From my measurements, it was 86 each one, but they look so good. From 3 months, 4-month process, finally today, we just finished it out. So it looks really, really good. I can't wait to get some pictures and send those over to you guys.
Yeah, Jim does amazing work. We're really happy to have been able to work with him. And we're saving up our pennies because we want to have some Jim Jammal work in our homes.
I'll tell you, well, I definitely appreciate that. And likewise, I mean, just finding a skilled carpenter to, help on the journey of some of our like neater projects, especially
the tradesmen can't afford their own work.
Isn't it crazy? I always tell customers I just vicariously live through them
and,
just ship it off. And my mother always would tell me, the second generation owners, you remember the furniture, not the person. That's how you always. But it's a neat process. I was born into the trade. 60 years now in Jersey City, dating back over 100 in the Middle East.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's funny, my grandparents came to this country because my great uncle, he had an upholstery shop in Jersey City and told my grandmother, his sister, hey, come on, you gotta, you'll make a ton of money. My dad still says this today. He said, Jim, they told us the streets were gold, paved in gold.
Yeah.
And he came here and he was so surprised. But
we've squandered it all in those 100 years.
So
what year did they come over?
So literally, my uncle told them in 62, 63, they came over one by one, as my dad would say on the banana boat.
Yes.
But he opened a business right then and there.
Yeah, I see on the shirt, established in 1963.
I'm telling you, aren't they beautiful shirts?
Yeah, I
almost wore mine today.
Yeah, we sport them.
It's in the rotation. It's in that 5-shirt rotation.
Definitely.
That's what you got, honestly. I'm waiting for my Greene Street shirt.
Yeah, we got to get more. We got to get more.
Oh, man. But no, it's been a neat process. My grandfather didn't really care about the business. He was more into the real estate side of the American dream, where he bought up all of what's now known as Indian Square in Jersey City. And my father would go around collecting the rent, and it'd take him a day and a half, 2 days, because, that's what he did. And gratefully made his dream happen. My father took a different role and saw the possibilities that, we see now that my business is. I mean, we are a mom and pop shop, but we do so many just big, exciting projects, like with you guys, just that 43-foot-long banquette and the 200-inch-long banquette in the sister restaurant, but also in technology companies like I don't know if I'm able to say Nike, Google, right?
Oh yeah.
So copyright infringement, right?
Oh, no.
Whatever the hell it is.
Come at us, Nike and Google.
But yeah, it's neat. You meet, a lot of interesting people. Like we were connected by Jacqueline, Donnie Douglas. I don't know how long ago it was. It feels like forever, honestly.
I'm trying to think of what that first project was.
For me, with Jacqueline, it was Solaya. I think that's the first process we did with them.
Yeah, those 4 chaise lounges.
The 4 chaise lounges, and then we did the banquet seating.
In the co-working or something.
Co-working space.
Yeah, Jacqueline didn't use us for that. She used somebody else.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Well, at least she was honest, right?
Yeah. She didn't tell us. She just told us. She just omitted that we didn't get that.
Oh, man.
If you're listening, Jacqueline.
Yeah.
As long as you're getting a piece, my father said, that's all you need to survive.
We just need a slice of the pie.
Yeah, and I'm sure like with you, like business is always just a roller coaster.
Mm-hmm.
One day you'll have designers, chomping at you for a quote, timeline and everything, or whoever. And then 2 years later, you'll hear back after that, which is always a fun experience.
It's always feast or famine. And it's like you get almost to the finish line on all these jobs. And because you've given us prices on a bunch of stuff, those sectionals that we were talking about.
Oh, yeah.
You get to like, it's like, okay, send the money. And then it's like, they're gone.
They disappear into the ether.
I've had clients that are like, oh, you need to pick this up right away, but can you hold on to it for 3-4 months? And I'm like, what do you're crazy. If you've seen our shop, obviously, they would know.
I'm laughing because your shop it's like something out of Central Casting, if they wanted to like create like an overworked, overcrowded, like almost like a bazaar with 2 A's, bazaar kind of experience.
It's definitely a diamond in the rough, but it's always a game of furniture Tetris every day. We're always moving around stuff. My parents' house has a great storage unit, so that's always fun. But we make it work. I think it's about 70 foot by 15.
Wow. Yeah. I was trying to, because we were talking to John Peters was here a little while ago, and he knew you were coming on, and we're like, you can almost like touch either wall, like if you spread your arm, if I was a little taller. It's
a real diamond in the rough. A lot of customers actually come to us and they're like, where are you located? We have no idea. And when you walk in, you're kind of just like, what the hell is this place? Is it a junk shop or what?
No, it doesn't look. It looks like an upholstery shop, but it's
a little disheveled.
Well, it's controlled chaos because if you had seen, it's chaos in the shop right now. But if you had seen the old shop, same thing. We're in a 24 by 36 with all these big machines and just crammed in there. Stuff stacked on top of other stuff, and every square inch of wall is covered with stuff hanging.
You got to use every inch you got, honestly, and that's what I've been learning. It's wild. My dad used to have more cabinets and everything else in between, and we've thrown out tables and everything else, and I'm still just like, how the heck is he getting sofas in here? We just had a recent job we did. You guys saw at the St. Peter's University circular sofas.
Yeah, that's very cool.
Yeah.
Holy moly, trying to get those into the shop was not easy, so I had to cut those in half.
And that's more than just like upholstery than you think in the traditional sense. Like you guys had to go there, demo these things, bring them back. You had to cut them to get them inside, and then you have to go and put it back together. It's not like you're just, let's just do the upholstery. You have to do all those other aspects of the job.
The before and afters are pretty amazing.
Isn't it crazy? I think that's what everybody sees, and that's what everybody's amazed by. But at the same time, just like you give a person a price, and some people have a heart attack and don't understand what that middle process is. Me having to, destall a specific part, or just picking up, just logistically wise, and realistically, there's 3 or 4 of us at a given day, and
just trying to scratch out a living.
Yeah, honestly, it's a hustle. It's a grind, and I watched my dad do it since I was as young as I can remember, and always kind of idolized my dad for doing what he did. My dad had 30 odd jobs in his life: hairstylist, Wall Street, pencil factory, and his English accent, kind of funny. So it kind of looks like a Colombian drug lord. He's got all these rings and gold, necklaces on. He's got his little hat and his cane. So
British accent.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. Be good for TV.
Yeah. Any producers out there?
Yeah. I told you this before, but my two uncles had an upholstery shop in Brooklyn on Avenue S. That was back when it was before, pneumatics and everything. It was the mouthful of tacks. With the magnetic hammer.
It's crazy to me because, the industry has changed so much since, just the technology has advanced. It hasn't advanced much, honestly, since that staple gun or air pressure. But we still do a couple traditional pieces here and there, but I would say it's less than like 3 to 5 a year.
Yeah.
So very limited, but a lot of people don't want to pay more. Obviously it takes longer. Like you said, tack and hammer,
Those are lifetime pieces though, the frames and everything, you just reupholster. That's how I grew up.
No, of course.
You know, that you would just reupholster the piece that was already in the house.
And today, it's throwaway furniture, unfortunately.
Yeah.
My father would tell me he would see upholstery or reupholstering commercials on TV, and I can't fathom that. It's such a niche, thing now. Same as like carpentry, honestly. And I mean, my father would tell me about 40 to 50 guys doing upholstery in Jersey City alone when he was in his prime, and that you can't fathom either.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's basically just been us since, I don't know, for the last decade or so. COVID wasn't kind to a lot of the older upholsterers in our area.
Yeah, I can imagine. So. You guys did a Duncan Fife not too long ago, right?
Yeah. We did a Duncan Fife, and it was beautiful. We did.
Wow.
We actually did a couple, actually. There was the Greene one we did. I don't know if that's the one you're talking about. We had to.
It had like claw feet, I think.
Yeah, so we had to fix and repair one of the legs. We actually replaced part with not as great a leg, but we did our little handyman craftsman work. I'm sure you guys could have done a little better, but it looked
whatever
great.
The budget calls for, No,
yeah, it was a sentimental piece, like Rob was saying. I mean, realistically, that's what you did back in the day. Mm-hmm. You got your furniture reupholstered.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really neat to me that I've done furniture that my grandfather's reupholstered, that my father's reupholstered, and that I've reupholstered now, and that those pieces of furniture has actually just followed me followed in their generations as well as with me. So kind of is neat. And we'll find old platform tape, or not tape, but tickets with Jammal Upholstery on it from way back in the day.
That's cool.
Yeah. My grandfather would do the upholstery himself. My grandmother would sew.
Yes. My mother was the seamstress.
Okay. And my dad was the job getter.
Immigrants taken to the trades, and I remember growing up, and it's funny now because my mom would make drapes out of the same material that we would get the furniture upholstered in.
Everything's all coordinated.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We need some chairs with this pattern on it.
Yeah, the 70s called.
Yes.
I love it.
Jacqueline was calling this the porn room, a 19.
Okay.
I think that's why the listenership was so good on that episode.
Yeah.
We had our first female guest, and she did not disappoint.
Well, I listened to a good amount of that, and it was a good episode.
Yeah, a lot of people really liked it.
Yeah.
So if you're listening and you want to hear from more interior designers, let us know, because we have a couple that we could, at least one other off the top of our head that we could get in.
It's always very neat how both of our industries are kind of intertwined,
Mm-hmm.
kind of just blending in and dipping in different areas, whether it be banquettes, or, I mean, just even weirder stuff that we've built, like the Chase for Solaya.
That capsule-shaped sofa.
Oh, yeah, that was
cool.
That was really cool. And then that mini furniture maker. Holy moly.
Oh, yeah.
That was insane.
She recreated that in like, she makes like miniature furniture for, I guess, like dollhouses and stuff.
I don't even know.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks expensive.
Yeah.
But it seems
probably
like,
more than we got for
right. It seems like she's making the money with that modular sofa. So good for her.
Yeah.
It looks great.
Oh, we did the sectional that had the wood like table thing over top of it.
Oh man.
I'm not sure if they still have that. If they
Oh god. That was
ill-conceived.
That was a long process. Yeah.
You know what I like is that we build these sort of plywood carcasses, and then they go to you, and you pull like that channel. I didn't know what channel backs were. I mean, I'd seen them. I didn't know what it was called or anything. But you do all this work on it, and you can't really imagine that it's just this bare carcass underneath.
For me, it's kind of funny. Well, not funny, I guess, because every day this is what I've seen my whole life. Like this is, it's another day. We're going to tuff the 100-foot long wall, or we're going to channel a 43-foot long banquette. And, I'm very appreciative of the people I have around me that surrounding me in the business. Roberto's been with my family for 18 years now, being a big part of the business.
Wow.
So, he seems like a cool dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's he's known me since I was 15. So,
wow.
We've been together forever. Robert's got about 40 years of experience. Another gentleman who works for us, Jonathan, he's got about 50 years experience.
Jeez.
In Honduras, they give you the tools as soon as you can start functioning with tools, basically 7, 8 years old. And when he was, I think, 12 years old, he cut off his finger.
Oh
but the guy, and he with a saw, but he's still doing upholstery. He works with me. He's in a design shop in the city as well. And just finding people like that number one, have the passion, and number two, are willing to work a little harder for, but you have to really love what you do. And I've been running this business now 5 years, and maybe 50 guys I've run through, and, they tell you, I can do this, I can cut, I can sew, and, give you the whole spiel, and then your 100-year-old sewing machine's broken. So
never broke before, but it's broken now.
Isn't that crazy? So then you gotta, you're down another, you went through this process of trying to teach this other person. You wasted another couple weeks, and it's just so hard. But, like I said, just very fortunate with the people surrounded in the business. And because we've been so busy, I've been able to take a step back in the past year or so, where I'm doing more of the face of the business, social media. If you want, follow us at Jammal Upholstery.
Yeah, plug away.
Definitely. Yeah. But it's I'm very blessed and fortunate because, like I said, my grandfather was more into the real estate side of it. My father really expanded the business to what it is, to include, like we said, Broadway plays.
I was going to mention that before. You guys did some stuff for Broadway. Yeah,
usually we do about 3 to 5 plays a year. We haven't done any this year, but last year we did the piano lesson with Samuel L. Jackson. We did POTUS with Vanessa Williams. And then we also did Pretty Woman. That was a traveling show, and it went all over the country. But yeah, so we used to work with a scenery company, or we still do, I should say, based in Jersey City. And they would, do all our banquettes and everything, and they got a little too big, and I needed to find another carpenter, and it took me 1.5 years, but oh man, thank you, Jacqueline, for that plug.
We've enjoyed it. It's a nice break from what we typically do, where we still want to build it really nice, but it's not so, you're not going to end up really seeing anything that we do. So it's there's a little more carefree of a build, it's less stressful for sure.
Yeah.
Don't have to wipe off every single bit of glue.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man.
We can put some staples.
Well, realistically, you're giving me a carcass, and we just have to dress her up. And I'm always, I shouldn't say I'm not amazed by some of the stuff we do. I was I mean, I'm super passionate about the business and just so proud of being able to say, like, you know, hey, 43-foot long banquette, yeah.
Yeah.
And, like, that's, I don't think I've ever made a banquette that long before. But we've had actually, that was our second banquette, or third banquette build.
Those U-shaped ones we did, were cool.
Mm-hmm. That was in my own backup. So that was a tech Google company. Mm-hmm. Those things were huge.
Did they ever put the plane inside?
Yeah. Oh my God. It's freaking huge. Just imagine a legit plane inside a building, like the interior of a plane with like a cocktail bar in it. And it's like, that's going to be your closing room. That's what they made.
That's pretty cool.
You're looking at our cocktail bar right there.
Espresso.
You got to get some scotch over there.
We got a bottle of Prosecco down there.
Oh, boy.
That Brian, our machinery salesman, brought it to us when we bought that ungodly expensive edge bander out there.
I can only imagine. You have a lot more expensive tools than I have in my shop. I don't even want to ask how much you've sunk in the tools in the past.
It's been an expensive 7 months.
But you did it.
Yeah.
So that's credit to you guys for being able to make that happen, right?
Yeah. When you mentioned, people following you and stuff like that, give everybody the address, because it's Jammal, but it's what, Jammal?
Yeah, no one knows exactly. So my family's Palestinian. My father would tell me, one, we're Catholic, one M is Muslim, and two is Catholic. I said, whatever floats your boat, Dad. My father was born in Jerusalem.
Got get political.
Free Palestine.
Yeah, honestly, I kind of alluded to this story before, but I will add myself after. I'll just briefly go over it. My family was in Palestine in the mid 40s, 1946. My dad was born in 47, and he was 1 year old. And at the War of 1948 started when England gave Israel their independence, and my uncle, who ended up saving my father's life with a bone marrow transplant, many years later, was shot in the leg by an Israeli officer. So my grandmother said, it's time.
Time to go.
Time to go. So my dad, 1 year old, and the other 6 children get on the back of a pickup truck and got the heck out with anything they could carry. My grandfather joined the Royal Air Force, and he went through Lebanon, Syria, Cyprus, Jordan, and finally in England. But in the Middle East, he would build runways for the Royal Air Force for their planes, and he'd do upholstery on the side.
Wow. Very interesting perspective that you don't really hear often. That story's not told much in these parts.
That's something that, it's like in history class, you don't learn about, who lived in Israel before World War II,
right.
Yeah, it's a melting pot of many different cultures that I don't think many people realized. But I'm thankful that my family was able to get out when they did. My uncle my great cousin, wrote an article, and it's really interesting. I'll send it to you guys if you want. It's,
definitely.
Just about just kind of what happened of them getting out. The other part of my family, not my family, but not my extended family, they left in a Rolls Royce. Yeah, so a little different than my
the 6 kids in the back of a pickup.
Back of a pickup. So
where in England did they end up?
So they ended up in Birkenhead, which is by Liverpool.
Oh, that's the north, right?
Yeah, and that's where my dad's accent comes from, and it's
Liverpudlian.
Yeah, it's tough.
Is that northwest or northeast?
Yeah, I think so.
It's far east. So grew up there, very, very poor. My grandfather did upholstery there as well, and still did stuff in the Royal Air Force, but that's how he kind of got their golden ticket out of the Middle East. And my dad would tell me stories because the final sibling count was 10. So they'd be poor as all heck, and banana bread every day, or banana on bread every day, and they would actually raise bunnies to make extra money and sell them, and people would eat them, obviously.
Yeah,
That's how it worked. Yeah, right? So they were there for, I think it was like 10 years, and then they came to Jersey City. Like I said, my great uncle said, the getting's good, and opened up an upholstery shop. And in 2001, we moved up the block to where we are now, which is Journal Square in Jersey City, a.k.a. Chaos.
We try and be out by like 9:30 a.m. if we can.
It's like, I growing up, like, there and seeing it through the decades, it's pretty interesting just because, it just used to be the hood and no one wanted to be there. Property was worthless. I think my grandfather was buying buildings in the 60s for like $5,000,
my God.
Crazy, right? Imagine. A little tougher for us today, huh?
Yeah, it's like every time we come to your shop, there's a new giant building being built somewhere. It's like, well, they leveled that house right there, and they're putting up something that's like 30 stories.
Yeah, so I don't know if you guys saw the J Squared buildings. There's 3 of them now. There's it's Kushner's buildings. There's one that's I think 60 stories, 70 stories, one that's 50 stories, and one that's 40 stories that Jay just did.
Now these are blocks with 3-story buildings, predominantly. Yep.
So that was a parking lot when I was a kid, learning the upholstery trade with my father and mother. A woman would sit there and collect like $5 from everybody, and that was just that was a parking lot, and it's insane that they put 3 crazy buildings there. Not only are they doing that, but they're building a green space. So, I mean, we're very fortunate. It's only, I think, going to help me and the industry we're in, so it should be good. But it, like you said, I mean, you've got blocks with 2-family, 3-family houses that, now you have 6-7 buildings that are 15 plus, stories, and you're kind of scratching your head. So good to see Jersey City kind of coming back, but also not to see the gentrification. Some of the less fortunate people getting kicked out. Yeah,
because where do you go?
Right. Hey,
south or west?
Yeah, until the urban creep. Was it urban creep? Is that the right? I don't know. Yeah. As the people they're coming out of New York City. New York City is getting bigger and bigger, and it's just swallowing up everything around it.
It's so insane. Literally, like I can't tell you how many times I go to Brooklyn and. Same story. Oh, we're moving to the Heights. We're moving to downtown, and it's wonderful. But you see it more and more. I mean, I love it. Don't get me wrong, because I love that kind of hip, New York vibe, like those little bistros coming in the neighborhood, just like that banquet bill that we just did. So
those are clients moving in.
Yeah,
exactly. Gotta look at it that way.
That's how I see it, and I honestly, I wish I started social media earlier. But not a big social media guy. Like Rob, I was a history teacher for a few years, so I just didn't need it during that anyway. And just started doing that, and like the world, my eyes have opened, from how great of a tool that can be just
it's
for
a huge
business.
Huge part of, it's a necessary evil. It could be exhausting and feel very fake at times, but it's the new form of advertising.
Of course. It's totally gone. I mean, I don't think people understand how much time it takes that is like put into the social media aspect of it. I mean, I can only imagine this show, like, the time and, everything that this takes.
Straight to tape.
Yeah.
All right, so that's
we've
good.
got it. I mean, it used to take. Yeah, it used to take longer. But literally, when I hit stop record, it's going to get uploaded.
Oh.
I got like 10 more minutes of uploading, and then that's it.
Hey, Jim, I want to circle back to the banana sandwich.
Oh yeah,
because I grew up with that. We used to toast the bread. Yeah.
With sugar or no?
No.
And you smash the banana or just slice it?
Yeah. Banana on toast.
Yeah.
For me, I like we were talking about before we started, I got a textures thing. So that just doesn't work for me.
Butter? Any butter?
No.
Just banana.
Just banana.
We do like peanut butter and banana on toast. That's good.
It's too expensive.
Yeah.
You could have some rabbit, but no banana.
That's the immigrant.
I would take the rabbit.
That's the immigrant stuff.
It is. And like kind of we were talking about, like you don't really hear that a lot. I mean, I feel like I'm a 90-year-old man in a 33-year-old body at this point because I know so much of this history and like everything. And I'm thankful that it's close to, that I'm so close to our removal from another place, or actually our migration here, I should say, and how the business is kind of connected to that migration. So it's very neat.
Oh yeah. I mean,
talk about a real example of the American dream. Like in 50 years, not even 50 years, I don't know. They started the upholstery business in what, 63?
63 in Jersey
so,
City. April was 60 years.
And only came here in the 50s?
No, they came here that year.
Oh, well, shit.
Yeah. They hit the ground running. Immigrants, they want to work.
I mean, and you're not...
That's it.
You can't do that now,
No.
People come here and you can't start your own business, it's a lot harder.
Yeah, it's
not to discredit what your family did.
I would say it's a lot harder just getting the monetary funds you need compared to back then. Back then it was like a handshake, and you can kind of get by.
Yeah,
but here it's hey, the credit card's coming after you. I mean,
just to lease this building, Rob and I are on the hook personally. So the business leases the building, but we had to sign personal guarantees that say, let's say the business goes under next year. We still have to pay for that full 5-year lease term. I mean, it's insane.
Yeah, I hear stories, my family's been here probably another generation before yours. My mother was born in Sicily and she came over here. I'm not sure what year, probably like in either the late 20s or early 30s. And she was the oldest. And my other aunts and uncles were all born here. But one of my uncles started selling fruit out of a cart, and he wound up having like a bus company. This is how...
Yeah, the hustle.
That, as Jeff was explaining, the ability to do that isn't the same. We talk about this all the time because of our age difference, how much easier it was years ago to just get things going, Like even me, being like 30 years old, like I started with a sign in my front yard.
I love that.
That's, you can't do it anymore.
Well, you got the internet to help now. I would say that's where, that's the way you have to go. My dad would always tell me stories.
Yeah,
he would just
but startup costs are so prohibitive.
You need to have at least $10,000 to $20,000 on hand just to be a small business. And I feel like this business, you need even more than that.
Yeah.
And if you don't own the property, like you guys are saying, that it just makes it so much harder.
Yeah. It's just the reality of today's marketplace. It's stratifying at an alarming rate. And, people like us, where are we going to go?
Exactly. I was very fortunate to be kind of handed the keys to the Cadillac, and I'm not trying to mess.
Don't drive it off the road.
I'm trying not to. We stay in our lane. We only do upholstery. We used to do caning. We used to do drapery work, but we just don't do that anymore. We don't have the personnel. A lot of people just went back to their countries. They're like, screw this. I'm not going to pay, a month of rent what I'd be paying for a couple years there in their countries in DR or Honduras, which I totally get. I would do the same thing. I would go back to my country and live like a king if I could.
Yeah. It's interesting. The streets are paved with gold. That was the message that my family got as well coming over here. But the situation that they're leaving is worse.
No, of course.
Yeah.
So they have to come and take it.
Exactly. It's like we said, just everything's expensive as hell here.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. And
only getting more expensive.
I always try to tell people that. I'm like, one of my favorite phrases for the business in the past 5 years has been, I'm not Amazon. Like, I am not freaking Amazon.
Yeah.
Like, I got customers coming in and they're like, oh, I have this chair. It needs to be done by the end of the week. I'm like, okay, you got the fabric? No. What the hell are we going to do then?
It's going to take us 2 weeks to get the fabric.
Isn't it so crazy? I mean, I was traumatized by COVID. I can only imagine your supply chain issues.
Yeah.
We couldn't get slides for like 8 months.
Isn't that crazy?
Nobody wanted us in their houses,
Yeah.
Yeah, it was some customers were just really not great, to be honest. And like, I was okay with losing them. Like, because my father, like I said before, is a cancer survivor. And, we went through it with him. So I waited a little bit until everything was right. But I mean, I think we closed from mid-March to maybe mid-June. So that wasn't too bad. And I feel like we opened up relatively quickly. And God, when we opened up, I mean, it was just a floodgate.
People were waiting.
Ooh. Like, it was, I mean, I heard this from every person. Like, I'm sitting on my couch. That's all I'm doing. And I hate it. And it's old and it needs to be, and it was great.
Yep.
I mean, I think I was backed up like 6 to 8 months.
That's wonderful.
I mean, I've never experienced something like that before in my life. It was great. Thankfully, we've always been busy, just like you guys, kind of ebbs and flows into some of the crazier stuff. But, usually we have a couple months of work on hand, which is great. I sleep well.
How much of the business is repairs? How much of it is built from scratch?
Kind of all depends. I would say like banquet builds, maybe like 3 to 5 a year, depending, like different sizes and everything. I mean, we've built 3 with you in the past, like in 1 year's time, I would say. I would say we do a lot of residential, probably like 25% residential, a good 50. Well, no, I should say like another, maybe like 50% commercial stuff. And then probably like another 25% like mid-century modern. We do a lot of work for the guys down at Lenoba Design in Jersey City. And they just got such wonderful stuff. Teak, rosewood, everything in between.
Yeah, I think we've mentioned them before. If we haven't, Lenoba Design, right? Yeah. So like
Lars and David.
Yeah, they're not Dutch. Danish. I always get this wrong. They are Danish, right?
Lars is Danish,
okay.
And David's from, I think, Chicago.
But anyway, they go overseas and buy up like whole shipping containers full of. They're not in shipping containers, but they buy all this furniture and put them in shipping containers, real mid-century Danish stuff, and send it back here and then recondition it and sell it.
So if you've ever saw the show American Pickers on like History Channel, that's kind of what they do. They'll literally go into the people's houses, and since Lars is from there, they'll actually he has just family there already, so they'll actually just go in and start picking. But Lars and David will both go, together separate a couple times a year and just start picking. And
sounds so cool.
I know.
Right? It's crazy.
Hey, what's the process? Like my couch is all pooped out. I mean, I want to get it reupholstered. Hey, Jim,
Wayfair.com
Well, that's a big first step. It's, is it a good couch? Where'd you get it?
Yeah.
And some people don't like
They don't
that
want to
question.
hear it. They don't like to hear it.
No.
Especially if it's their quote unquote heirloom, like those granny's furniture. We get that too, but
you gotta
this is Elaine.
Oh boy. You got to tell them the price is the price, but when someone's telling me they got it from Bob's or Wayfair, I'm just like, just throw it out.
Yeah.
let's say it came from Bassett or something.
Okay, yeah, no, Bassett's great. I mean, as long as it has good bones, what you're really looking for is you want that North Carolina furniture.
Yeah.
That's like for the U.S., that's like the Mecca.
When we look at the
building.
auction websites, like where you buy used woodworking machinery, it's like they're all shutting down.
No way.
Almost all the auctions are Massachusetts, Pennsylvania, North Carolina.
No way.
Yeah.
There's a couple of upholsterers in North Carolina that I follow on Instagram, and they seem to be like the getting's good down there. But I mean, that's like where you want to be as an upholsterer. I don't know if the money's there. I mean, like it is here.
Then you got to live in North Carolina.
Yeah, I don't know if I need that.
So what? Can I text you pictures and that's how it goes?
So usually it's like email. I can't stand when people text me pictures. I'm just like, it's going to get lost. You know, it's literally, it's my cell phone. Like, and people don't realize that. They think it's like, I don't know, maybe people think it's this big company that it isn't. Like, I try not to tell like bigger companies that we work with how small like we are. You know,
that's like us.
We're like, yeah, we'll just step on you and not pay you. Well, we'll hire you and then not pay you if we know that you're this small.
I don't know how many times Jeff has told people, no, this is it. This is the whole company.
Yeah. We were in Vegas at KBIS, which is like kitchen and bath industry show or whatever.
Okay.
And, you know, so all the big cabinetry companies and hardware companies, and there's like a Ford thing, and they have all these trucks, so we were looking, and he goes, oh, how big's your fleet? Like, 0.
Everybody always asks, like, the people that are coming to pick it up? I'm like, you're looking at them, like, what the hell do you think this is? I was struggling a couple weeks ago going up. I mean, if you've ever been to Hoboken or Jersey City, these old historic buildings with these,
we've carried furniture up there.
Ooh, yeah,
just the front steps are brutal.
Oh yeah, and then you get in, and it's like, oh, how am I going to get past this slant in the stairs? And you make it work, but it's you doing it. Like, people see maybe the Instagram and like all the the glamorous stuff that we post after, but just like you guys, you're blood, sweat, and tears.
Yep.
But usually email, pictures, brief description, anything you'd want us to know.
Budget?
Well, not really. The one thing, I just didn't say the one thing, but one thing, or one pet peeve that I have is when people will call me and they're like, well, what's the price? And I'm like, what are you talking about? They're like, well, my chair or my sofa, what's the price? And I'm like, well, what the hell does that mean? A chair and a sofa, how am I going to, everything's different.
Yeah.
I need to see a picture. Oh, no, but you got a price.
No, it's like I have to sit down with this information and figure out what the price is.
There's labor, there's yardage.
Materials.
Yeah, okay, how many cushions on it? And, like, people are, like, taken aback by, like, the cost of, like, cushions per se and don't realize how much it costs. Like, for me, to get you a slipcover made for your sofa is probably going to be a couple $100 cheaper maybe than an actual reupholstery job, just because it takes so much time to actually sew. Sewing in the upholstery game takes the most amount of work. So
got to put in all those little beads around everything.
Well, yeah, so we overlock everything, which it basically just like shures up and make sure it's not going to fray. So you're basically sewing it twice. So we overlock it and then we sew it again on the sewing machines. We've got 2 singers that are over 100 years old, and then we have Juki that's probably like 60 years old. So our Juki we use for our heavy leathers, like our mohairs.
That's what the guy that makes the aprons that we wear, he's got a Juki.
You gotta. Yeah. If you don't, like, I remember, what was it? Maybe 6 months ago, you sent me a video of a guy, I think.
So through a quarter.
And my heart, man, like, that's something you don't see in the industry,
I can't imagine. That's crazy.
Yeah. My mom had a couple of singers, like with the cast iron treadle at the bottom with the, like, web.
Yeah,
that thing. Yeah,
that's the best. They don't make them like they used to.
Those
that's
black
why
cast iron machines.
In every upholstery shop, you'll find one of those still.
Yeah,
and that's another die-in trade. Having people coming to actually fix the machines.
Yeah.
Oh man, like I got this one guy from Ecuador, and he's got to be like 80 or 75 years old. he's still spry as all hell, but he's here 6 months of the year, and like you get him when you get him, and if not, you got to go through other people, and it's just it's a headache. Like I said, I've kind of, I just stay in my lane. I've narrowed what we do. Like my dad used to do caning and drapery, and that's something we don't do. We don't do car upholstery either. Mechanisms, like I don't want to get involved in that. It just doesn't make sense. But any furniture you want to reupholster, we'll take care of it. It's been an interesting ride the last 5 years, especially watching from, I guess, the back seat. I've been in this, business my whole life. I was doing Houlihan's restaurant. Shout out to them if you know the little American, restaurant franchise. But we've been doing work with them for about 40 years now. And I would go with my dad when I'm 12 years old doing banquettes.
That's crazy.
So that's pretty nuts.
Yeah, some of the stories you've posted of like the stuff that's underneath of the banquettes.
Oh man,
it's a fork from 6 years ago.
It's crazy. Like I don't understand how some people like sit on some of the furniture that we reupholster because it's just sand. And yeah, people are just sitting on it, eating dinner and everything, and they're like, we reupholstered these about 15 years ago. I'm like, are you sure it's 15? 50. You mean 50? Yeah.
Oh my god.
We might have a gig for you.
All right.
Yeah. I got to get down to the church. We built this altar rail.
Okay.
And there's the kneelers.
Yep.
But the way we did it was they're rimmed in oak and hardwood, and people are sort of complaining that their shin bone is hitting the wood. So we're gonna take out the padding and stuff that we did. And we're going to see if we could talk Father Allen to laying on separate cushions.
With Velcro on the bottom. That way, if they get dirty, they can take them off and wash them.
Yeah, that'd be a good idea.
Yeah.
The technology in fabric has been so insane since my father's left the business. Like I said, I was watching from like a back seat. Kind of in my 20s after I got back from college, I did start working with my parents for a good 3 years before I got into teaching, and that kind of taught me how to run the business. So I was seeing those fabrics, seeing just how everything ran, and calling those distributors, and making those connections. Most of those connections are gone by now, which is crazy. But yeah, just fabric wise, there's so many fabrics that you can get machine washable now, and that's something that was like very exclusive to like a Sunbrella, like an indoor-outdoor fabric.
Yeah.
So there's this one that we carry called Supreme, and it's pee-proof. So it was made...
That's great for pets.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's a great selling point for pets as well as just assisted living homes.
Little kids.
Yeah, exactly. So it's been a great seller. It seems like they're getting bigger. I see a lot more fabric distributors carrying them now. But fabric pricing has gone through the roof. I kind of, when I give an estimate, it's if someone doesn't have their fabric, I'll just give that standard $50 a yard. Anything in my fabric books, you've been in the shop, obviously, like you guys have. You've seen hundreds of them on the wall, and it's like you said, it's kind of like organized chaos because it's good one day, and then a customer will come in and spend like an ungodly amount of hours looking at everything and, go crazy. But I usually try to just gear customers towards a couple different books and say, don't drive yourself nuts. But like I said, a lot of fabric companies have now geared towards like performance lines. I'm sure you've heard of that. Like just Krypton is like the standard.
Yeah, I think that's what Krypton was, the original stuff. Yeah. I think the fabric that he's looking for is an Architect's.
Yeah.
To match the hues.
Architects is good. They're very commercial heavy.
That banquette that you did the cushions for us, that brown.
Yeah.
And then some pillows. That was Architects.
That's where they're from. Okay. Yeah. I remember you had a foam company too.
Yeah, I forget who that was.
I'm trying to find a latex foam distributor. the hardest thing to find because we do have. So just as the industries change with the fabric kind of advancing and the stain resistant, you used to, put on a gas mask and you're spraying Scotch Guard.
Oh, God.
So we still, we do that sometimes at the end of the day or on a Saturday. We'll spray what we need to spray and everybody get the heck out. But, I try not to do that. It doesn't seem very healthy, obviously, especially with all this stuff going on with 3M, like all their stuff getting just basically them saying about the carcinogens and everything in their
that's what to keep sprays. The water from soaking into
it's a water. Well, technically, there was an issue. Like my dad told me, like 20, 30 years ago with the spray Scotch Guard, and then they like took something out and made it more like of a water based spray, but
less of a killer.
Yeah,
CFCs probably.
I'm sure there's still the same stuff. I mean, I'm a little concerned when I see the rolls I get for like vinyls and fabrics, and like all the vinyl ones say may cause cancer, and I'm just like, oh, great.
Well, yeah, it's like we're here unwrapping these doors, and you're just hit with this off-gassing of the finish that they use, conversion varnish or whatever it is.
That's like the one thing I can't, like, my dad wasn't very conscious of, I think, and I'm trying to be more conscious about that in our shop, and like you've seen, it's not so big. So that's kind of a tough thing sometimes to juggle with.
Yeah, because a lot of the foams and everything must off gas like crazy.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's you can smell it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a little. Hopefully, I'm okay.
Yeah,
Robert making me concerned.
It's one of those things where if you don't think about it now, it's the kind of thing that'll catch up to you in 30 years from now.
No, of course.
We got dust and noise, and
Well, I think just the construction in my area is going to kill me with all that dust.
I was going to say that before. Like, man, just the congestion from the construction alone is insane.
I try to keep my doors closed because it's just like after a while you just can't take it. It's just like a haze, and you're just getting all that like construction debris and dust in. Like it's everywhere you look. I mean, there's a 2-story building across the street they tore down that they're waiting for the courthouse to finish, and they're gonna put, I think, a 30-something story building there, and it's like, what?
That's crazy.
Holy moly! So
that's what I want to do. Put a 30-story building on my property.
Yeah.
I don't think Middletown allows 30 stories.
I don't know. We could go halvesies if you got a little treasure trove.
Yeah, so when are you going to sell the shop and move out to the country?
Oh,
have a big, wide open shop.
Oh, I can't wait. I think I'm going to be waiting a couple more years for that. But yeah, super grateful for, the work that my dad put in. I would say that's the golden goose that like he was able to kind of link onto or catch because, my parents weren't well off. I remember growing up, the upholstery game wasn't this niche industry that it is now.
Yeah, there was no
he was one of 100 on the block.
Exactly. Like just on that surrounding area, there was 5 or 6 upholsterers, and one of them was my great uncle. So it's really insane how the industry has changed and become more of a niche thing. I would say, people are like addicted to the Instagram. It's like HGTV for them. And I have a client who works for ESPN, and she's trying to get us in talks with a producer for an HGTV, like whatever, like just to have a talk. And I'm like, hey, that'd be great. I'll take that. I'll take you guys with me on the ride.
Yeah, there you go.
We were under a what was that thing called?
It's
something
non-compete.
No.
An ND.
A shopping agreement. Something like that. Ourselves and Jacqueline, we were being shopped for a show.
Oh, no way.
So we weren't allowed to talk about it for a year, but it's expired. So I guess the show's not happening.
Damn. What was that going to be on?
One of those channels. Yeah. They never got that. It was like a company who was trying to develop a show to pitch to a network.
Okay.
Yeah.
They had the pitch, but they didn't have resources.
I don't know. Yeah.
Well, that'd have been neat.
They were like, we're like, go with this real like Jersey thing. I'm like, I don't know like how well that's going to.
Yeah.
Would have set you guys up for a lot of success. I mean, that's
maybe.
You just need that one.
Or just made us look like assholes.
Yeah, probably.
What, you just need that one little hook.
Yeah.
And that will get you all those clients.
Yeah.
In the Hamptons or wherever else you want them.
Any publicity is good publicity.
Seriously, I would love to get in like, you know, a paper or something. I'm hoping the social media kind of builds it up a little bit because we do have such like a neat history in the community and are like a staple.
Yeah.
And a diamond in the rough. Like I said, no one knows we're there. But it's neat. I mean, the whole process, getting back to that, it takes some time. Like if, say, Rob's got his family heirloom that he wants to get upholstered, you know, you start the process, sending pictures, you make an appointment, you come in. Okay, that's 1 week.
Will you come and pick it up?
Well, so then I'd ask for a deposit, you know, because we got to order the material. So I try not to have the sofa in my shop for too long, obviously, because where am I going to put it?
Oh, yeah.
Juggling it on my head.
We're not a storage unit.
Yeah, that's it.
We're storing something right now. We've been storing it for, I don't even know how long.
6 months.
Isn't that crazy?
On another season.
And they were like, we're going to start showing the lobby in 2 weeks. And that was
months ago.
10 weeks ago.
That is mind-blowing. Like, gotta leave it, like, you know, I hope you got a deposit, number one.
Oh, I had them pass in full up front.
Oh, there you go.
I'm like, yeah, you're a little bit sketchy.
Well, what did they tell you, like, in the beginning?
Oh, we need this ASAP.
Really?
Yeah.
And then they just dragged their feet.
Yeah, it was the same people with the sectional who then, disappeared.
Yeah.
And then they had the gumption to email on like a Wednesday, and they're like, can you deliver it on Friday?
Wow.
I'm like, no. I'm like, the soonest we can deliver it is whatever. I forget. It was like right before 4th of July. And then they're like, wait, are we even ready for it? Because I'm in like a thread email with some other people, and they're like, we're not even ready for it. And I haven't heard from them in 2 weeks, another 2 weeks now.
I'm sure in like a month or two, you're going to hear, oh, can we have this by the end of the week? I mean, that's what I can't stand about people. And like, I by posting a lot of the stories that I post, I'm hoping that more people see like, hey, this takes a hell of a lot of time.
Yeah.
Like, thank God I have 3 people right now working in the shop. They're working their butts off, and it's time consuming. It's hard work, especially with old wood furniture.
Mm-hmm.
You got, it's tough taking it apart. It's funny that a lot of people will come in and say, but wait, I'm going to save some money. I'm going to take apart the whole piece.
Yeah.
And then, then that's going to make it cheaper, right? Like, no. What'd you save me? You saved me a couple hours of work? Like, get out of here, man.
Plus, you want to see how it went together, too, sometimes, right?
Well, especially on tough pieces. I mean, we work with all types of materials, mohairs, leathers, silks, anything. And we could tough, channel. We can make whatever you want. But, it's, I don't know, people have ideas of what they think you can do and can't do in that like short period of time.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of always annoys me. But I mean, I don't know. It's very interesting to get someone into the space and show them kind of how the industry works and how everything works. And like, no, we don't just take a sofa and like pick it up and hold it for 2 weeks, and it like we're working on it that 2 weeks. We kind of do everything like an assembly line.
Yeah.
We have someone taking apart stuff, and that moves into the next line, which is cutting. That moves into the next line, which is sewing. That moves into the upholstering side of it. So it's all just one calculated move. Mm-hmm. That's a schedule that keeps moving. So, and some people are, Jim, as long as you want, and that's great. That's what you want to hear, because that's the people you can say, okay, they're giving me the time and the space. Because for me, like a sofa can take, anywhere from like 30 to like 40 hours.
Yeah.
And people are like, what the hell? Why? I'm like, well, you got cushions, you got to sew. That's quite a few hours of work right there. If there's 6 cushions, that's 20 hours, 20 to 25 hours. Isn't that insane?
Well, I mean, people are, you're dealing with the same stuff that we're dealing with as far as pricing and people understanding the difference between qualities and availability. And, I can get this whole bedroom set at Bob's for $12.99. How how could you want $3,000 to, and I'm just shooting out a number. I mean, to like,
for a side table.
Yeah.
That's so insane. Right? Like, but people don't understand that. That's like, you took that time and they don't know that. They just know the finished product. That's why I'm like, okay, the Instagram kind of puts on a story that you can see it. I mean, I wanted to start a TikTok. You guys have one, right?
I just started one about a week ago.
How's that going?
We got like almost 2,500 followers.
Okay. Yeah. So you got some people on there.
Yeah.
And good for business?
Well, what I'm trying to get the TikTok monetized, which you got to get to 10,000.
Okay.
Then you can start getting paid by TikTok.
Oh boy. All right.
Just a little fun money.
I'm telling you, I got to get on TikTok. And then there's Threads now.
Yeah. I think Threads is kind of
not going to work.
I did it just because, you got to stay ahead of the curve, I guess. But
is that the metaverse? Threads?
Threads is like Twitter, but it's run by Meta.
Okay.
Because Twitter's kind of going off the rails.
I think for me, I think Instagram is just a very nice, comfortable spot for our industries.
Yeah.
Like just
what we do is so visual.
Yeah, it's all aesthetically pleasing. Like, I mean, when I'm watching your guys' videos, I'm just like, wow, like this is so intense. Like, and to see the finished product, it's very satisfying. It's very neat. You never kind of know what's coming. It reminds me of like this old house.
Yeah, we got a new YouTube channel dropping soon.
Oh yeah,
with our buddy John, who was just here. We're trying to think of names. So anybody who's listening, John Peters, and we sort of announced it in the last video that John put out, which came out on Sunday. But we're going to start like a joint channel with an emphasis on like teaching, do some like classes and stuff like that. I'm not selling this very well. Do some instructional type stuff, where you could have like a video and plans and stuff like that.
So have you guys ever been contacted about teaching classes?
Some people have mentioned it. Yeah.
Okay. I would definitely say I've been contacted probably once a week for the last 3 years.
Wow.
Yeah, it's insane. Like, just people will DM me on Instagram or just call us and be like, hey, I want to learn. But, putting in that time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's got to be after hours.
It's exactly. It's
then
so
you got
much.
a bunch of work in the shop.
Exactly. And like,
go around that sofa, but don't touch it.
I had
no, you can't eat in here.
I had this kid's mom come in. He was 16, I think. And he wanted to do some some hands-on internship with, a creative workshop. And I'm just like, man, what if this kid cuts his finger off?
Yeah. It's like, no, you're going to have to pay me because I'm going to have to watch you. I'm going to have to explain to you how to do things.
I mean, I'm just terrified, like liability factor.
Yeah. And I had a couple of kids through my time period because there was a certain amount of time where I was like about a year out and I couldn't do the work by myself. And I was losing I had two brothers for like 10 years.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, so then I was like, how do I replace these kids? And it was impossible. It was impossible. And my favorite story was I found one great kid. At the end of the first day, he said, Mr. Barone, do you work this hard every day?
Like this was an easy day.
I can't tell you how many kids I've been through. All they do is they look at their phones and like they think, oh, this is too hard. Like
that's the point. It being hard is the point.
Literally.
That's why everybody doesn't do it.
Seriously. Yeah. I went to an upholstery meetup. Shout out to the National Upholstery Association. They just started in 2019, so fairly new.
Mm-hmm.
But they have meetups and workshops and everything. So I attended one at this upholstery shop called Stitch Room Upholstery. I think I got that right, or Stitch Work, in the Brooklyn Navy Yards. And, Robert, my employee, is just like, oh, there's probably going to be like 50 people there. And I'm like thinking, like, scratching my head, it's a national union thing, but how many people can there possibly be? I was 30 minutes late. I was the first person there.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. I think there was one interior designer who came. There was an upholsterer who was delivering something from, she was from Philly, delivering something to Greenpoint. And then there was one other upholsterer from Queens and 2 woodworkers from like the Brooklyn and Long Island City area. But I mean, there's nobody. There is a lot of gypsy upholstery guys, though, as my father used to call them.
Pickup truck guys?
Yeah, pretty much. Like, you know, they would go, I don't know, I guess some of the Houlihan's throughout the years, like they've had enough of my father and his prices, you know.
And quality.
I'm telling you.
Damn him and his quality.
So, you know, like
getting rich.
You'd get a call like a year after or like 6 months after, and they'd be like, you know, Jim, they came in with, you know, no shirt on, flip-flops.
Smoking.
And they take the banquette out with them. Like we do.
To the parking lot.
Yeah. And like they would say that they don't return them. Like we do a lot of restaurant banquets and like just doctor's offices, physical therapy tables and stuff like that. So we try to be very time sensitive with that. We'll try to take stuff like the day of and then return it later that day. You know, it's funny, like some doctors like, I have to pay this much for what? And I'm like, you know, I'm coming to you with final samples. I'm then coming back a different time to pick up said piece.
It's like, dude, you just charged me $700 for an Advil.
Yeah, right? It's pretty crazy, right? And like the people don't understand that. And then you got to come back and install. And for me, I like to block off that whole day.
Oh, yeah.
If we're doing like something like that.
Yeah.
And it's like 3-4 people are working on this thing, and you know, you don't see the before and after.
Like you can close the doctor's office for 2 days. How's that sound?
Yeah. So it's funny. You'll hear that all the time. Like, oh, can you just do it like overnight? Like, yeah, because we don't sleep.
We charge 2.5 times for overnight work.
Sometimes we'd go and do like overnight restaurants. We did a restaurant. I think we didn't have to go overnight, but we were just there like multiple mornings at like 5 a.m. Called the Milburn Standard. It's a steakhouse in Milburn, Short Hills there. Really, really nice. They worked at Houston's in the front of the house and the back of the house, and we did all the work for Houston's for like the last 20, 30 years. If you know Houston's, it's a very fine dining, like franchise steakhouse. Like all their leathers are from Italy.
Nice.
Yeah, they're very, just meticulous about like the stuff they use and stuff. And it was always great. My dad would make friends with the GMs or the back of the house, and we just get racks and racks of ribs and steaks.
I remember you telling me about
it. Was great. And we do one of the ones in Long Island by Lake Jones Beach, and my parents are a partner deal. They have 2 Westies that follow them everywhere. They were the shop dogs. By shop dogs, I mean they would just lay on the furniture all the time. These guys are spoiled, eating better than all 3 of us. So my parents put the spare ribs, 4 racks in the car.
Oh, jeez.
Each rack was, like some ungodly price. These take 24 hours to make. They started the day before.
Wow.
Dogs ate half them.
Oh,
yeah.
That's like one time my wife made a pound of chicken cutlets and left them up on the table, and old Zuma got up there and ate them.
I forgot all about Zuma.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Well, I mean, that like in a shop like this, it's not the best space for like a dog or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know how my parents did it. Like they just always bring their dogs every day. For me, I'm married to the business already. I don't need that extra headache.
Yeah, more responsibility. I thought a shop cat would be cool, but then like you got to have a litter box. And then, we open the doors, the cat's going to go run away.
Don't want to get hit.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that too. My sister's a crazy cat woman. She's got a cool story. She's a tea sommelier, and she was in the Baccarat in the city, and she just came back. She was in the restaurant Tiffany's. The Michelin star chef hired her out from. She's in the Bay Area for like 3 or 4 months, which was really cool. So I think she's got a cooler story than the upholstery thing, but. Out of the...
It depends on the audience.
Tea sommelier. I like that.
Yeah.
I mean, what the hell is a tea sommelier, you know? Like,
I put it together.
Yeah.
Is there a name, like a specific name for that? Like I know like a beer sommelier is like a Cicero.
Okay. No,
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either. I was just going to say a beer connoisseur.
She's got to come up with something.
Yeah, so she just started this whole thing by herself. My family, like I said, were English and Arabic, so they loved their teas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, both of them.
Exactly.
Well, the English were sort of looting.
Yeah. So off the backs, but she's got a cool story. She's at the Tea Lady on Instagram, but she pairs teas with wines. You know, she makes her soaps and everything. She's traveled all over Scotland, UK, Japan, Korea, China, meeting with farmers and stuff, and
all the big tea
classes.
spots.
Yeah, she
India.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. I know she consults with a company from India, but you know she used to work in the Baccarat, which is a very prestigious hotel in the city, and she'd be like telling me these teas are $1,000 a pound, and you know I'm having a heart attack. Yeah, high tea with her. That was Anthony Bourdain, John Hamm,
wow,
Shaquille O'Neal, like all the big timers. So
that's cool.
Yeah, we got a family of entrepreneurs. I got a sister who's got a boutique shop in Northern California as well.
What city up there?
Petaluma.
Oh yeah, that's a nice place.
Yeah, so she loves it. I mean, I'm envious of where my other sister lives. She's in Sausalito.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So I try to get out there as much as possible. And just, I mean, I'm an adventure guy. I love to.
Yeah, Sausalito is one of the premier spots. It's on the bay north of San Francisco. So if you go over the Golden Gate Bridge down towards the right, that's Sausalito.
You're literally overlooking like the Golden State Bridge as you're like on the mountain, like this vegetative mountain.
Yeah, it's sweet.
Spectacular. Yeah. So excited to have that plug out there. And then my other sister has been in, she just moved out there a couple of years ago. And then my other sister in Petaluma has been out there for 30 years now.
She's probably seen that area change because it used to be real like country, kind of thing.
Yeah, it's very boutique-y now, like very
What kind of shop does she have?
She has just a boutique, you know, she's got like
clothes?
Clothes, leather hides, statues, like dinosaur statues. It kind of fits her personality. She's at Sweet Melissa's. She doesn't really have a big following, but she's always had shops up and down like Northern California, and she's opened this one like 2 years ago. So it's pretty neat.
Sweet Melissa.
Sweet Melissa's, she's quite the person. So she's just the name Sweet Melissa's really does her justice.
Is that her actual name?
No, it's Melissa, but she's...
Well, isn't that a tune?
Sweet Melissa, I can't wait to... Oh, wait.
It could be.
I'm pretty sure that's a song.
No, that's Meet Virginia. I don't. I plugged that into... That was like
Sweet
a big
Melissa.
hit song in like the early 2000s.
Is that an Allman Brothers song?
It could be.
Meet
She's very
Virginia.
into that.
I can't wait to...
I don't know my
meet
classic
Virginia.
rock. Or classic. I don't know. Is it classic? Is that a bad
it's,
thing to say now?
Melissa is an Allman Brothers song. There's no Sweet.
There we go.
Oh, yeah. I think that was on Guitar Hero. You want to take some questions? We got a couple questions.
Let's do questions. I can't believe anybody actually gave you a few.
Let's see. I took a screenshot.
What the hell is upholstery?
How much to reupholster this? My cat bed.
Well, you know what a lot of upholsterers do, just to get a little sneak of what other upholsterers charge. You just call up another upholsterer. Hey, how much are you charging?
Yeah.
Oh, well, give me a guesstimate. Or you just send them a random couch that kind of looks like the same. If that's what you do when you want to know what the industry is charging in the area.
To gauge.
But you hear some crazy, crazy numbers. I mean, obviously in the city. I mean, people are paying $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 to upholster a couch, and you know, I'm over here holding my breath, like holy crap. My dad 5 years ago was charging basically $1,000.
What?
To charge? To
Wow.
reupholster a sofa.
That's crazy.
Isn't that nuts?
I'm going to bring mine in.
Yeah. Oh, you can call him up. I'll give him your number. But
do house calls.
It's just how much the industry changed. And what I was going to say before to tie into that was,
oh my God.
You know, when we didn't have work, my dad would literally be like hustling, going to like hotels, whatever. Like, hey, I'm an upholsterer. Here's some of my work. And he'd bring like a photo book with him.
I had one of those books that I put together.
It. But thank God for Instagram now. And you don't need to schlep to everybody's place. Giving them that price anymore. It's here's the price. You know, you want it. Okay, I'll be there and pick it up, and that's it. Mm-hmm. So that's definitely a good thing. And you know, just imagine you're bringing all these sample books. Mm-hmm. So it's just a real pain in the butt. So technology's definitely helped.
Yeah,
but just made fabric has just gone through the roof. During COVID, like foam went through the roof. It went up like 100%. I want to say
that's a lot.
It was insane.
Most of that stuff's all imported, I'm guessing. Yeah.
And then the couple factories that are actually here. They kept getting shut down with COVID, and it'd be like 2 weeks to start up. And these are massive factories, and it would just take so much time. And once one would start up, then the other would get COVID, and it would just keep happening.
Yeah, it was like all meat, all that stuff was like that. All right, here we go. We got a couple. Corey sent in 4 questions. 3. What are some of the common tools that you use?
So obviously a staple gun's a big one. Just nail remover, staple remover.
Are those like T50 staples?
Yeah, everybody had what T50. What would you say T50 is?
They're what? They're like 7/16.
Yeah. We're 3/8 crowned. That's that's the standard in the upholstery game.
And they're 18 gauge.
So we use 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch, 3/8, and then what am I thinking? 1/2 inch. Yeah, there you go. That's like the biggest ones we really use. I have like the OD, like, you know, staple guy that, you know, will take your leg off, but we don't really need that.
I saw you have staples. You have an Omer. One of them's an Omer. I know that.
Yeah, that's a good gun.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's I don't know if you noticed, it's a long nose. So you got the long nose.
Reach in there.
Yeah. So getting back to that question, there's like there's the tools that I just said. Every upholsterer's got their like favorite ones. Like the one guy that works for me part-time, he comes in and he'll have a backpack full of his tools, and they'll lay them out perfectly. He's very meticulous, and like
I like that.
It's great. Like he's very, very clean. Like cleans up everything, and that's one thing. Training today, like kids, they just
there must be cutoffs everywhere.
It's terrible.
Well, it's like here. I mean, you make a mess.
Yeah, but you know, it's just clean up after for the next project. But no, you know, you have those, you know, the staple remover, your pliers, you know, and everybody has their favorite ones. Like my hammer at the shop has got to be like 50, not 50, maybe 40 years old. This old ass rubber hammer that I've been using. We have this antique, like, I guess staple remover, just has a wooden handle, like old school. Probably half the tools in the shop are from my grandfather. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
I think it's cool.
Yeah, it's pretty badass, right?
You can't replace that stuff with similar quality anymore. It's hard.
Yeah, I had this cool freaking like cotton puller that would like, you know, you'd put in the back cushion, like that fluff, and it just kind of plies it out and like just makes it aerated. And it broke, and I've been trying to fix it, and it like kind of gets back, but it's got some vicious teeth on it inside, and it'll just kill you. So yeah, and it weighs probably like 120 pounds.
Oh, geez.
It's got these old school wheels on it. Yeah, it's pretty neat. So it's pretty cool. But everybody's got their standard, like there's and then scissors. Oh man,
yeah.
Everybody's got their scissors. Like everybody has they're just, I don't know. And everybody's like, it's like butthurt about like using other people's tools. They're like, these are my tools. Like this is my name on it.
That's like my wife is a hairdresser.
Yeah.
And like they'll like occasionally like share like blow dryers and stuff like that. But the scissors, I don't think the scissors like change hands.
Oh yeah.
It's like a kitchen chef's knives.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh yeah. That's his pride and joy. That's his toolkit that he's bringing to work like a butcher.
Like chisels and planes and stuff. Like, you know, if I have a plane that Rob needs or vice versa, like we'll swap them off. But it's kind of like in another shop, like where maybe you weren't so friendly with the people, like it would kind of be like off, like don't touch my shit. You know?
Yeah, no, it's true. I mean, It's funny when my two masters, Robert and Jonathan, work together. They kind of like, they keep to themselves. They want like their own tools, but like you get to like I don't know, you just have the feel with certain tools.
Oh yeah.
I always remember with I did a job with another upholsterer a couple of years ago, and my dad is still running the business, and he's like, how do you hold, like, we were having like just this discussion of how you hold the pliers and stuff. And we're like, oh, you hold them like this, and he's like, oh, okay, you put your hand there too. And I'm like, yeah, I put my finger this way, and it's like, okay, you're doing it the right way. And there's like an art form to like, you know, the technique. Oh, yeah. So you kind of like pick it up slowly, but everybody's got their own tools.
That's part of the job, is getting that comfortability with your tools and
knowing it. Yeah. Do you use pinking shears at all?
Not really. Pinking shears, those are small guys.
No, those are the ones with the zigzag.
No, I don't think we do actually. No.
What do you use to measure?
Measure stuff?
Yeah.
Tape measure and rulers. That's really it. We got like, you know, you got your yard stick, which is big for us because everything's measured in yards.
You can lay it flat.
Yeah, and then, you know, 54 incher, and then I got like a 72 incher, and that's basically it. That's all we really need. And we have the what's the L-shaped guy?
T-square?
T-square. We got one of those guys.
What do you guys mark with? Chalk?
Just chalk. Yeah, like Taylor chalk.
Is it like in like a pencil that you can like?
Yeah, you could do that, or I just have
Remember those little round?
Yeah, I have like the round ones as well. Kind of whatever.
Yeah, I've seen
I just try to get whatever the hell everybody needs.
Yeah.
Like I'd rather have more than less because I'm sure we're gonna use it. And we're always kind of churning stuff out. What was I gonna say? The one thing you cannot do marking wise, you're not supposed to use any permanent marker or a pen. That's like a no-no because it bleeds through.
Mm-hmm.
So, but like you'll get yelled at, like my father would yell at me. Like, don't fuck it up.
So you need scissors,
pliers,
staple
gun. You need your nail remover, and then you need your staple remover. That's really it, right? And your hammer.
And your measurement tools, layout tools.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
So anybody could be an upholstery.
And a sewing machine.
I'm telling you. And a sewing machine. If you can sew, that's half of the game, honestly. We just got a new hire. Name's Angelica. Shout you out. I'm sure you won't listen, but that's okay.
You better listen, Angelica.
Right? Come on, I'm going to put this on freaking the Bose speaker for everybody to hear. But no, she's great. She's a great team member. She wants to learn, and a lot of people don't want to and don't want to do stuff that they think is not what they see as in their job. Like she's taking apart stuff. She's like doing whatever. She's a seamstress, but she wants to learn. I have a lot of people who call me about learning. Like I just had someone from Patterson. He's like in this artsy fartsy building with all these other art people. And he's like, hey, can I just come in and, like, you know, just watch you guys learn? And, like, you know, would you be willing to teach classes to come here? And I'm just like, you know, that's the whole process, man. We work 7 to 7. Someone's in the shop every day. And then 9 to 6.
This is why we like you, Jim.
Yeah. We're like 6:30 to 4:30.
Yeah. I mean, it's, so nobody kill me or whatever. I hope there's no wackos. But I live on top of the stores, so I'll do my paperwork in the morning, then 9 o'clock I come down, usually unless there's a big 43-foot long banquette waiting for me, and I'll come down earlier, but usually Robert opens up the shop, gets the shop ready, and I take care of all the non-exciting administrative stuff.
It's the worst stuff.
Oh, it's terrible. I was doing my own books till last 2 years ago, and I'm like scratching my head. How the hell are my parents doing
like the taxes?
Everything,
like filing the actual taxes. Yeah, that's crazy.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, I don't do that anymore. Thank God.
I keep the books, but all the tax stuff is
well. We got
hand.
We got QuickBooks and everything now. But like everything was like check, actual check. Here's your payment for the week, and like I'd get paid like until I think a year and a half ago via a check, and I'm just like feeling like I'm in the 1920s over here.
We still do checks, but we're not employed. We're just taking an owner draw, so it's like we can't do like a payroll.
Yeah. Well, it took me 5 years to set up the way I wanted to. And that's because I got one of those knock out of the park jobs that kind of saves your butt. Like I said, just owning the building makes life easier because what's your major overhead? It's rent.
It's like we're back in the old shop.
Yeah. So life is good. You know, you just no overhead. During the pandemic, oh my God, you know, like I lost all my commercial jobs. Those commercial jobs, those tech companies, restaurants, everything else. That was my, big slice of the pie. And now that I'm thinking of it, it's, commercial stuff's probably like 70% of our business. But we landed like a big contract with the Hyatt Times Square. We did 50 couches for them. Thankfully, not at all at once. Obviously, you see the shop. It took us like, I think 8 months of just like dancing. You know, that's how, big and small we were. Plus, not only that, but we were so busy just with residential because you're in the heart of COVID. So that really saved me and made it possible for me to kind of get paid what I think I'm deserved and empower my employees. And like, I've been able to, obviously pay it forward. And, I want to be, I think the teaching aspect and, being a teacher and just also working for my parents, that kind of gave me that perspective that I needed to say, hey, like, this is how I wanted to be treated, have empathy and be mindful of others, and I'll tell you what, man.
That's a beautiful sentiment.
Isn't it great?
And not that many people actually act it out.
Yeah. So, a couple of my guys are from Mexico. So when they have parties, I'll go over and, I get a mariachi band in there and a bottle or 10 of tequila. So it's always a good time. But, I feel like family to them and, I'm grateful for them as much as they're grateful for me. So, one hand washes the other, and you got to know, what you got to just treat your employees like you want them to be treated. And like, if you have good employees, you want to make sure that they want to stay, and
they are the most valuable asset a small business can have.
Seriously, especially in the industry like myself, I just don't have like, I can do upholstery. I have knowledge, but it's just like, where's the time? Who's going to go pick up this stuff? Who's going to answer the emails? Who's going to do this? Like, I'd like to have a life. When I first started doing this, it was Roberto and myself. And I would be answering emails at 11 o'clock at night and saying, what the hell am I doing? This is why I'm not a teacher. Not
it's like grading the papers.
Exactly. Those history papers that you didn't want to read anymore.
Oh, my gosh.
They're miserable.
Start correcting the English and the grammar and everything. It's like, no. This is going to Scantron.
We've had enough. Yeah.
We talked about that.
Yeah, we had a fun
So let's
discussion.
go to the next question.
Oh, yeah. What is the most complex part of upholstery?
Complex, I would say just, being able to get the precise measurements. Like, it's so hard to actually do upholstery. Like, it looks, I don't know if it looks easy to some people, but just like taking the time and being patient with yourself is the biggest thing. To become a upholsterer, like an okay upholsterer, it takes 5 years, at least 5 years. And that's to become an okay upholsterer. And to just be able to get those measurements correct and not everything straight.
That's the thing.
Exactly.
And it's a flexible material. It's not like wood where it's like this is 8.5 by 11, no matter what.
Yep.
Material, you go like this. Now it's 8.5 by 12.
Yeah. So with a lot of things, we'll add about an inch to each side, going either outer side. But like even foam, same thing. You need to do that. But just being able to measure, and then like the biggest complex part, like I said before, in actual doing upholstery is sewing. Like if you can sew, sewing, tufting, channeling. There you go. That's the hardest things you can do.
It looks it too.
Oh, it's terrible. So the one guy that I was talking about that cut off his finger, Jonathan, he can do it. Like, so it's a whole mathematical equation of getting the right just diameter that you want for the actual tuft. And he can do it with his eyes closed. Oh, God. How insane. He's been doing it since, I think he said he was like 13 doing tufting.
Wow.
So you're just, and it's mind blowing to see him do it. and he's like, Jim, I don't have a ruler. I don't have anything. I see it and I do it. So
Oh God.
it's pretty intense. Like, I mean, I came into this business knowing the business, knowing how to run the business, and I knew I could be the face. You know, it's my father kind of groomed me to that. You know, only boy in the, you know, so that definitely helped my thing out. And I don't think either of my 4 sisters wanted to carry couches. Yeah,
I don't blame them.
a lot of honestly, you know, who my dad would get? It would be all my friends. It would be, you know, I think maybe 10 of my friends, maybe 15 have helped my parents back in the day. And, like, these would be kids that would be working there, like, you know, while I was in college working with my parents. They'd pick them up or whatever, schlepp to Jersey City from Bergen County. And, yeah, I mean, it was whoever we can get. You know, just any help was, you know, worthwhile help in that industry or in that time period, especially my dad. He was even smaller than us. Like, it was just him and Robert. So, pretty insane. But we've made it work. I mean, just in that little shop, and we're still continuing to make it work. I mean, part of me would love to move, but part of me would not want to because I love that whole mom and pop diamond in the rough feel. Like, I feel like we're like a part of the community. Like, we've existed there for 60 years. And, like, people just, like, walk by on the street and be like, wow, this place has been here forever. Like, you guys are old as shit. I'm like, yeah, it's true. And I'm like, yeah, honestly, it amazes me that I can kind of walk down the block and, you know, point out that this my great uncle's shop, and this was my, you know, dad's and my grandfather's upholstery shop back in the day. There's like a White Tiger on Newark Ave by Journal Square, like a little further down where the Indian section is. And that used to say Jammal Upholstery, and that was like a 30.
Wow.
Yeah, it was like a 20 by 50 foot, maybe 30 by 50 foot long, like thing that said Jammal Upholstery. And then once, when my grandfather died, my dad had a marble engravement of my grandfather's name put into the one building. It said Jacob Jammal. So, but yeah, it's pretty nuts. My uncle was the last one there, and he just left the block. He sold. He couldn't take it anymore. So it's a real change.
Wait till all those hipsters move in.
I mean, I think it's there already. I have never seen so many white people. White people, dogs. I always say you go to Hoboken, you just see white people, dogs, and kids.
Yeah.
Like and I'm like, do these people have jobs? It's like California.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, when we go into Hoboken, it's funny. It's just like a lot of yoga pants, a lot of, what's like the dude uniform there? I can't think of it. You know, like the archetypal yuppie kind of Hoboken guy.
Well, half of it's like college-y bar. That's why I like Jersey City. Like, Jersey City's more of a chill area to be in. Like, there's like cool hip like bars, art galleries coming up, and like just all these cool neat hangout spots. Like, where I feel like Hoboken's a little more snobby. I do love Hoboken because that's where all those interior designers are. So, I mean, you can't beat that. The interior designer is your best customer.
We have a job going to Jersey City in the shop right now.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah. Downtown?
Like down on the water. It's the Hudson T building.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's the second job we did in that same apartment.
That's where Eli Manning was for quite a few years.
Really?
Yeah. He was living there when he was the Giants quarterback.
Wow.
Yeah,
real junk of a building.
Yeah. Isn't it funny?
Toll Brothers.
A lot of celebrities live out there. And now you have all celebrities moving into Jersey City, so it's pretty intense. So it's a good time to be in Jersey City.
My buddy's cousin, actually my buddy who owns this company, his cousin, I don't know where he lives now, but he used to live in the building right across from Goldman Sachs.
Okay.
So it's like a real
place.
Tall, apartment building that they built probably
there's even
2005 or something.
There's even bigger buildings down there now that they've just built.
Well, yeah, we just took the ferry in, and usually it'd stop at Wall Street, but it goes up to what is that? World Financial or whatever, which is right. Jersey City's right across the street.
Yep,
or across the street, across the
water
river.
street.
Yeah, and like I'm like, man, I don't remember there being so many tall buildings.
Yeah,
I mean, it's insane. The Jersey City mayor is trying to make a run for governor, so it seems like he's headed there because what he's done in Jersey City's been insane. I mean, everywhere you look. I mean, I can't believe like just the surrounding buildings. I used to be able to go on the roof for 4th of July, watch the fireworks. Now I can't even see out of like that couple block radius.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a painted flower window behind us. Painted flower building behind us that's like 20 stories.
Oh, yeah, when we go around the block, yeah.
One of my, the kid that worked for me was living there. How much it was for a studio apartment?
I can't even imagine.
You get a gym, okay, that's great. $2,800.
Wow, I was going to guess 1,800.
Oh, no, you can't get anything for 1,800 anymore.
Not anymore, man.
I remember Jersey City in the 80s.
Oh, yeah. A little different.
Yeah, I had a
$600.
Yeah, less.
Our drummer lived there, and there was that. It was like a theater that was turned into like a not a church, but it was all like the facade was all painted gold or something like that.
Was it the Kingdom Hall?
That's where the Jehovah's Witnesses.
We drove by it.
Yeah, it's beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah.
They've done some work in there. I've gone to a couple concerts. The one across the street, Lowe's Theater, is Prudential was supposed to invest in it and split half the cost with the city and rebuild it because the ceiling, just the interior, it's terrible. So they've been doing more and more stuff. I mean, I love going to I'm a concert guy, and there's been so much more in Jersey City than ever before. I mean, there's a new concert venue down the block, which is great. The new Italian bistro restaurant that we did is literally opening up right next door, and it looks like it's a restaurant kind of out of Hoboken or Manhattan. Basically, can charge an arm and a leg, So I can only imagine what it would cost.
I was going to say before, Allie and I went to dinner on Saturday. It was $140 for 2 people. And I went down the street in Keensburg.
That's scary.
Yeah.
I just visited my buddy. I went to school in Pennsylvania. Shout out East Stroudsburg University.
Oh, that was on my list of schools.
Yeah, and
that's funny. We would have been there at the same time.
Yeah, good teaching school, and then I ran track there for a few years. So that was pretty cool, and had enough and joined a fraternity.
Yeah, I did that for a little bit.
Yeah, hey, in your 20s, you're allowed to do that. But I think I had dinner out there with him, and I think I had steak, and he had something of the same sort, and it was $55, $60 for a couple beers, and that I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, well, I went to breakfast. Christopher takes me out to breakfast all the time now.
Oh yeah, you were telling me about this.
All the what do you call it? It's not an entree, but
tapas,
no, I mean the main thing in the entree in a breakfast menu. Is it?
I don't know what you would call that,
but $20 at this little place in a strip mall. I was I almost didn't want to order.
Yeah, it's these aren't even organic eggs.
No, come on, it's
wild. I try not to go into the city for dates.
I went to a wedding out in Stroudsburg and walked that little downtown.
Yeah, it's good.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
They actually had a music venue, and I was surprised at the acts that were coming in there.
Yeah, they had some big acts coming in there. I was always going when I was in school there. I can't remember the name. It was it's pretty. I don't know if you've been inside it. It's pretty big.
No,
but I fit quite a few thousand people in there.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, I was surprised. But that was a good downtown area. Oh man, and you can get wasted for $8.
Yeah, well, I went to West Virginia University. So
okay, that's a little.
You
different.
Get wasted for $4.
I was going to say that they just get you wasted.
Well, Wednesday nights at the one bar, Chasers and Dreams, it was called, which is funny because there's a abandoned bar up the street called Chasers. Wednesdays was penny pitcher night.
Wow.
An entire pitcher of beer, and it's not a fake pitcher; it's a full size.
Damn.
The 64
They're
ounce
plastic,
or whatever.
though, right?
Yeah.
A penny.
That is
so you just give them $1, you know?
No, of course. We do, beat the clock.
Mm-hmm.
That was always great. You ever do beat the clock?
No.
When you were back in the day? I mean, it'd start off 25-cent beers, and then every hour go up to 50 cents.
Yeah.
You just order, you order 16 beers. Here's $1 tip. Mm-hmm. Definitely can't drink like that anymore.
Me neither.
Yeah.
I think the volume back then was so much that it ate the years away.
I don't blame you.
Some of the places.
$1 night when I was in school.
That's not bad. Well, yeah, you were in the city, right?
No, I went to Arizona State.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oof.
Which was
party school.
It was a party school in 1980.
Was that for draft beer or bottled beer?
That was for a pitcher.
Oh,
that's great.
Okay. No,
That's
phenomenal. Good. I'm like, man, that seems expensive.
Yeah, that's what I was like.
Some of the places were drink and drown, so it was like, you paid $5 cover to get in, and drinks were free until midnight.
Oh God!
So you go in and be. The one night I drank literally 30 whiskey and cokes. They're in those little opaque plastic cups. The little Dixie cups.
Can't recover like that
anymore. No way.
I had 2 beers on Saturday. I'm like, I don't feel right anymore.
I want to stay in bed a little longer.
Yeah.
My dad would tell me stories. He was a disco bunny. My parents or my mom still has his sequined yellow disco suit.
With the rings and chains.
Yeah. How old is your dad?
My dad's 78 now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
God bless him.
He's still kicking it. I see them here and there. I like to garden. So I have my veggie garden over there. So it's
you're gonna have to come back with your dad. That would be a good episode.
Oh man,
I bet he's got some stories.
He is he's a sweet talker. He's got some funny stories. He used to drive in his 1967 Caddy, all big as all hell, and the stories he would tell my friends and me, and I'm just like,
I'm not kidding. That would be great.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he really was living the American dream and success story if he had a Cadillac. Because back then, I don't know if you know this, Jeff, because of your age and everything, but that was the real sign of success.
That was the symbol story. Yeah.
It was if you had a Cadillac, it was like the whole block would come and oh my God, Mr. Jammal's got a Cadillac. Can I sit in it? Can I, look at
really
it?
lost that allure, I feel like.
Yeah.
It was so amazing if somebody had a Cadillac.
My dad had it in the garage until 2-3 years ago, and it was they're paying the insurance. What the hell are you doing? My mother just I think every wife is get the hell out. We need to consolidate. And somebody was going to make it a chopper, not a chopper car. They were going to make it put a engine block in it and have it sitting outside. I don't know. My dad was a little terrified of that, but he got some money for it, so it was good.
Yeah.
But he did back in the day. He would have women from FIT.
Oh, jeez.
He would have women from FIT actually come and sew and learn how to sew. And after that, he'd pick up one of his buddies, and they'd get in the Econo Ford 150.
Yeah.
And they'd all head to Studio 54, whatever in the city. God. Get all tuned up, and then they'd go to my dad's favorite Middle Eastern place. It's a franchise now called Mamoun's.
Oh.
And they'd get the food there in Chelsea. And yeah, that was the game. And you're driving back home. You don't care back in the day because that wasn't a thing. And it'd start over the next day or whatever. But that's a big tool that upholsterers use if they can't find seamstresses.
FIT.
They'll go to FIT or any design school in the city. I know, I was talking about before, the upholstery meetup. She started out doing that, and she would sew cushions, and that's how she started. And I kind of like you guys did. You were kind of spamming interior designers and stuff. That's what she did. Her partner found a way to spam hundreds of interior designers in the city. And then for an interior designer, many, it's all about trust. An upholsterer, it's about reputation. You're a quality upholsterer, not like I said before, those gypsy upholsterers.
Right.
So and my father always prided himself as being a quality upholsterer. So, it's just it's funny to see that you don't see that that quality anymore.
Because that's everything.
People don't want to pay for
your
it.
reputation's everything.
And for us, it's kind of it's not I'm upset when people come in and talk about the our quality because they don't know us and we don't and it kind of I don't know. I always paint the picture of we're artisan shop. We're taking your frame down to the frame itself and painting a brand new canvas. That's how I look at it.
Mm-hmm.
And some people don't understand that. But, a lot of people will I don't know, some people will go and look on the website and see pictures and be like, oh, that's great. But I mean, like Instagram's been so helpful for that because, like Rob was saying before, you used to walk around with like a Rolodex of pictures, and you're like, and that's, you know, and you'd be like, okay, here, look, that's how I work. You know, that's how you'd show people your work. Yeah. But it is kind of annoying when people question your work. It's more or less the reviews online help. You know, that's just, I tell every customer, like, the biggest tip you can give me is a review. Yeah. Because that's how people find out more and more about us. You know, you get those bad reviews here and there. I mean, I've had quite a few, and I'm just like, I don't even care. Just because, like, you can't please everybody. Like, customers will come in with an idea and a number in their head, right? And if you don't agree to their number, they're going to give you a bad review. Like, I had... You mean
you got a bad review and you didn't even do work?
I have 3 or 4 bad reviews and I didn't even do work because I'm not going to negotiate.
What kind of whack job?
To do jobs for free. It's ridiculous. Like, I had one guy...
You shouldn't even be able to leave a review like that.
Isn't it crazy? So I had one guy recently. English was his second language, and I think he was confused on the pricing. And, like, I'm like, there's no way I can do the job for this price. There's no way I gave you that price. Right. And, you know, the fabric alone is going to be more. And he just, like, screaming at me, came in, like, all this stuff. And I'm like, holy crap. You know, I see my dad's nightstick. I'm like, am I going to, you know? And, you know, he left, like, a 1-star review, like, saying this guy didn't give me the, you know, he cheated me on the price. And I'm just like, you know what? Go scratch. But there's been other ones of, like, Americans, like, literally coming in, like I said, having a number, and they may have a price from a different upholsterer, but that's that upholsterer's price. Yeah.
You know, go there and get it done.
Exactly. You're paying for that experience. Mm-hmm. And, like, I'm telling you, my guy's got 40 to 50 years of experience, and you want to pay me, you know, $1,000 to do your couch. I'm not gonna agree to that.
No.
And, like,
the best is people get, like, offended. It's like, this is my price. Like, you don't have to have me do it.
Right.
If you want me to do it this bad, then you have to pay my price.
And you guys run into that, I'm sure.
Oh, my God.
I mean, have you run into the review where, like, someone has literally, like, got butthurt about the price?
No, we have a real hard time. Yeah, we have a real hard time getting reviews. Like, we only have, like, maybe a dozen reviews.
Okay.
And they're all good, thankfully.
But it's insane that, like, you can't please anybody. And, like, you see these, like, different companies, hey, we'll clean your review website. And I'm like, I don't need that shit. Like, you can read the reviews and just know, like, this guy's an asshole. Like, why? Like, he should not have even written this. And, like,
it's like Amazon. You know, you go on there and you see, like, a 1-star review. It's like, showed up late. It's like, that's not criteria for the review. Like,
and it's insane. Like, I think a guy wrote that I like just turned my back to him and I, like, scoffed because of what he wanted to pay. And I'm like, that never happened, but that's okay. And I'm like, can you take down the review because it's nasty? And then one guy left a 1-star review because he's like, he seemed like a nice guy, but just, it was like quadruple the price of, like, if I went to Walmart.
So?
And I'm like, go to Walmart, man. Like, what do you expect? So, you know, that's just another, like, thing in, like, business that we all deal with. Yeah. That's just like, you know, it just grinds your gears. You're like, what the hell? You know, why go out of the way?
Right, because, it's, you know, not the simplest thing to get on Google and leave a review. You know, there's multiple steps. So you have to, it's a very malicious act.
There's some intention there.
Yeah.
Well, it's because you're not going to do the job for their price, you know, and I'm just like, all right, I'm like, please look at my colleagues and, like, tell them you don't want to pay them. Tell them you want to pay them $10 an hour.
Right, yeah.
And then we can do it for you. And then tell the electric company that I don't want to pay.
We're not going to pay this week.
Yeah. And, you know, I say, like, there's rent involved too, because, like, of course
there is. That, you know, property taxes and everything else.
You have to maintain the building. You know what I mean? Just because you're not.
So even though I do, you know, obviously I work there, you know, I got to maintain the building. I'm the super. If anything happens, I mean, you know, the other week we had to put on a new roof. It's just such a, you know, and you're dealing with that. You're dealing with the upholstery business itself. Like, I had a family issue a couple of months ago when I had to step in as Uncle Jim for, you know, some time. And, like, you know, there's always something. You don't have that time off that you can take from, like, a big company.
Yeah.
We talk about that.
paternity
UPS
leave,
driver.
maternity leave, or like our UPS driver. I don't know if you're listening, Alan, because he delivered
We're
something.
jealous.
We weren't here. We weren't here, and he's like, "You guys starting a podcast?" I'm like, "We've been doing this for 150 episodes." Yeah, like 14 weeks of vacation.
Wow. Where are you gonna get that as? Well, what are they gonna do? Or for us, I mean, who's gonna pay you? You know,
Nobody.
I know. I don't know if it's England or somewhere in Europe. You get like 7 weeks to 14 weeks too, and the government pays you, which would be great.
Yeah.
But again, like running a small mom and pop shop, is that feasible? Like, can
I
you?
mean, could we even stay in? Even if we got paid,
we'd have to charge double what we're already charging just to be able to afford to take the time off and not work.
Exactly. Who's going to pay your rent? You know?
Yeah.
So
I mean, I would worry like what's going on with the business, even if we were getting paid.
Yeah.
Let's say Jeff and I said, "Oh, we saved up enough money. We're going to take a month off." What's happening to the business?
You have to work it to some degree.
Yeah.
You know, you have to answer phone calls and generate leads. And
I don't know about you guys, but I feel married to the business. You know, it's an understatement.
We have a friend who says marriage is a grind.
Yeah,
it really is. I mean, you're doing, like you guys said, you're doing like 10 different things. You're wearing so many different hats, trying to do this, that, trying to, and then just doing the jobs. That's like the easy part. Like, it's all the other things that are a pain in the ass.
Yeah, you know, it's like I've had this thing sitting here now for 2 days. I got to get in and translate this into something that's 10 feet tall. We have to replicate that 10 feet tall.
Is that the flower?
Yeah.
Oh,
and there's another thing in here. But it's like, you know, so we started building this kitchen. It's like, I don't want to step away from that to get into this.
Yeah.
I can't step away from that to get into this. And I'm sure as hell not bringing that home and doing it tonight.
What is that going to be for?
We're toasty after 4:30. We're totally useless.
Yeah, it's going to be an I don't know how much I could say about it. It's going to be an installation in Manhattan.
Okay. So, like a piece.
In a prominent spot.
Okay.
Oh, very cool.
I wanted to ask you, do you know Sahara in Brooklyn?
Sahara in Brooklyn. Sahara is what, an upholsterer?
A restaurant.
It sounds familiar. A lot of my my Arabic roots, I would say, are geared towards Patterson.
Okay,
because we go to Patterson a lot.
I like that kind of food, and you mentioned a good restaurant, so I've eaten at Sahara. I didn't know how it ranked for like authenticity or anything.
I'd like to get into some of that kind of nice grilled meats and stuff.
Yeah. It's really good.
So me being the only son when I was born and being the youngest made it probably even worse. My dad and my family, like, they sacrificed a goat.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. So my dad had, I don't know if it was a customer or just a doctor he knew, slice up the goat. And it was like 50 or 100 people, family, friends, and everything, just because I was a boy.
Yeah.
So the treatment was a little different in an Arabic family, even though we're super Americanized.
Mm-hmm.
My dad actually learned Arabic in the shop with my grandparents, too. That's how he learned,
Yeah. It happens fast, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Turn American.
Yeah.
Look at me, Jeff. I mean,
one generation.
It's hard to believe I'm only a generation away from them taking the boat ride.
Same. I mean,
I have like 2 generations in some, and then it's like going back like 400 years with the others.
That's wild.
Yeah, like I have family that came here from England in the 1600s.
Wow.
But then I have like, you know, Italian and Hungarian family that, you know, 1910,
came over in the great immigration waves.
Yep. It's insane. Everybody has like that one, every family has that, or each side has that one story of like flight and like struggle and migration, just trying to make it.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing to think about, like, coming here, don't speak the language.
Not a penny in your pocket.
Nothing. Came steerage.
Yeah.
It's like, holy cow.
Yeah.
And, you were kind of able to do it back in the day. I mean, now I feel like it's so much harder. There's just so many more loops to jump through.
Yeah.
And this
I'm like
and
you.
that.
I try and have empathy for all the people that are struggling to get here because, it's, it's not that far away from us.
Everybody has a situation and you don't know what everybody's dealing with.
Yeah.
So it's kind of heart-wrenching and like terrifying also to hear some of the stories, especially, I mean, I hear it a lot in like the Spanish community now because my trade is interlocked with Spanish. and it's like, oh, there was a beheading in this guy's like center of city.
Right, it's all the drug cartels and stuff like that.
So a lot of them don't want to go back, or they go back and like get into a fortified place, and that's it. But I mean, for me, I want to get west of the Rockies, get the far hell away from here, man. I mean,
Sausalito, here I come.
Yeah, hopefully my sister and brother-in-law are still out there at that point. But it's Jersey City's just a grind. Yeah. I mean, it's great. You come here, you make money and everything, but like, it just wears you down over time. And like, if you don't take those like just breaks and mental boundaries, especially in our industries, like you'll just burn out so quickly.
I couldn't do it. I like suburbia like this. I like to visit. Drive through New York City. Like when we go out to the Hamptons, most of the time we come home, we go through the Midtown Tunnel, and it's nice to be in the city for 15 minutes and then out.
Yeah, that's what I loved during COVID. There was no traffic. I mean, you got into New York City to the delivery or pickup in 15 minutes. I mean, now it's back to an hour and 15, but
it's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I don't want to bite the hand that feeds me. And we do so much like high end, commercial stuff in the city or residential stuff. And like I said before, it takes you to some neat places where basically the floors, the walls, the door is gold and marble and everything. And
they took it from the streets and they put it inside the penthouse.
Yeah. You can't. I mean, I always like in my brain, because I'm never going to ask how much these places are. And you just like, you're mind blown by some of these places. We're doing like a house an apartment that's 4 stories in this complex right outside of Central Park, and I'm just blown away.
They're like, yeah, we just laid off a quarter of our workforce in the company I own. You like this gold toilet?
It's neat though. I think I told you guys that my dad used to do work with Sbarro's, the pizza place.
Yeah.
So that was a neat one for him, that they would fly him out to Florida, and all over. And as an upholsterer, that's got a
high class.
Yeah, that's pretty gratifying, and you got to feel a certain way. So he would always do like Mario Sbarro's house in the Hamptons, the guest houses that are bigger than everybody's houses here, obviously, and like all his restaurants in New York City, which was great. But it was insane. Sbarro's is one of the other restaurants that my dad has done for like 30, 40 years. We haven't done them in a while. They kept selling to him, and then he would sell to someone and then like buy it back when it was crap and then sell again.
Yeah, that's a typical scam.
Yeah.
Not a scam, but
it was working and it was stick. But I don't know.
Did he use junk bonds?
Yeah. We got junk bond stories.
Oh boy. We've done, what was I going to say? And then, I don't know, do you guys do a lot of work like outside of New Jersey, New York area?
We recently shipped a couple nightstands to Park City, Utah.
Oh, wow, okay.
You've sent some stuff like down, Maryland?
Okay.
Yeah, but it's a tangible kind of thing. If you want to touch it, see it.
I've had clients that will go into a local upholsterer because they know we use that fabric or whatever. And then they'll come to me and say, hey, Jim, this is what I want to do. Can you make me cushions? Or, here's a sofa that I want to reupholstered. They'll drive it up from Virginia.
Wow.
And you just mind blown.
Yeah, you guys did all those, stools for the place in D.C.?
Yeah, so Swingers is it's good first date spot, I'll tell you that much. It's like a English fairy tale, like 9-hole golf course, mini golf thing, and they have there's like 4 different 9-hole golf courts, and it's spectacular.
Is it inside or
it's inside? Wow. It is so freaking cool. You know what I always think? It's like Alice in Wonderland. Like you're kind of just in this like magical little place, but
that's cool.
Their like whole shtick is great. They have one in England. And then one's in DC that we did 40 bar stools for. And then we did quite a few things for this one in NoHo. And we're doing a sofa for them in the next month or so that I got to pick up. But it's pretty neat, man. Like I had a customer drop off a sofa get this as a business owner, 12 o'clock at night on a Sunday. Can you believe that? They're like, Jim, but we'll be there soon. And I'm scratching my head.
Lucky you live there.
Like, listen, the door's unlocked. Just put it inside.
Pretty much. I didn't want to do it, but like, they're like, oh, we have the movers. We're coming from Virginia. And I was just like, I'm a human. I have a life. Like, thank God I live there. They were supposed to be there like 2 hours earlier. And the chef across the street was going to open at the shop. And that's the night I'm a 49er fan. And the 49ers got destroyed by the Eagles. So I just drove back from my friends.
Purdy got hurt?
When Purdy got hurt.
Okay.
I was in the Philly area, and I was just like, all right, this game's over. Like, I'm fine. I'm just going to drive back home, and got back at like 10 something. And these freaking people, 12 o'clock, come with a couch and a chair. And I'm just like, wow, this is like the most insane thing. I mean, they were really nice people, but it was just like, holy crap, at like 12 o'clock at night. This is like intense.
Were they previous clients and they moved?
No, so their situation was, it was just a family heirloom, and they were kind of cleaning out a parent's house. But they ended up being really awesome customers. I mean, most of our customers are, I would say like 90% of our customers are really cool. We've kind of talked about just interior designers being very like flaky sometimes. That's like something like that gets annoying, but at the end of the day, like, they're paying your salary. So,
yeah,
so, but we work with interior designers from Boston, Detroit, California, upstate New York, Connecticut. I mean, really all over the place, Virginia.
Wow.
And like, there's just Florida, and people just send us the specs, and, they're like, okay, we're going to ship you this furniture. I just picked up furniture from Greenpoint, Brooklyn for a designer out of Atlanta, Georgia, and technology is crazy. Like, you don't have to go through anything. The people see your work online, and that's it now. That's how we got the U-shaped banquette job.
Wow.
Yeah, through Instagram. I can't believe that.
That was like those nightstands we just made. Like, never had met this designer prior. We never met in person. We never even talked on the phone. It was all email and text. And then we sent him off to Utah. Like, it was just like, this is weird.
Isn't that insane? But like, once you get that little rapport with these interior designers, like, it goes a long way.
Yeah.
Honestly, because they have interior design friends.
Mm-hmm.
And then just, they're going to, like I said before, they're going to start off with a small piece, and then like, it just gets bigger and bigger.
There's a fly in here bugging me.
Yeah, like, we could palletize pretty much anything that we build, and send it anywhere. It's either we're going to drive it over to your house in the van, or somebody's going to load it into a big truck and drive it to your house,
Like those sauce walls.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we built these giant walls.
Yeah, you guys have some intense builds. I mean,
this is going to be insane.
I cannot wait to see it. I'm always kind of blown away by some of your builds.
So it'll be basically
to the ceiling?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is intense.
And,
how much is that going to weigh?
Well,
is it going to be wood?
No, we're still ironing out the exact details of how.
What's the coolest job you guys have done, like, project-wise, that you've taken on?
Like, most unique?
Yeah, something that you've always gone back to and remembered.
I mean, I think that steel and glass wine cabinet that we built that's still got to be one of my favorite things.
Yeah.
Just when it was done, it just looked so cool, and there were so many. It was such a boundary pusher for us in terms of building it.
Has like some great stories attached to it too.
And then
putting those glass panels in, we were just terrified, and then one exploded.
Yeah, it was like 60 inches by like 28 inches wide, tempered glass. The one just blew up in our hands.
Yeah.
No safety glasses,
We didn't know what was going to happen.
I don't think people realize how much work it takes for us to do what we do. I mean, they may see pictures and some videos that, we post, but it's like, it's so labor intense.
Yeah.
Like that, like, you at the end of the day, just thank God, you did it, like, and like, it's up and it's, it's hung and it's quality work, but it's just like, it's a friggin' hassle what we do.
The most intense was the beam.
Yeah. Cause it was just so big.
It was big.
heavy.
All high up in the air.
14 feet. Was it a 35?
Just the two of you.
A little bit bigger than that, yeah.
Holy moly.
It was in 3 sections. But
how heavy do you think one section of that beam weighs?
it's a lot. Over 100 pounds.
Yeah, so we're standing on 14-foot ladders, holding this beam up with one hand, trying to attach it.
At the end of the day, you just got to be happy you're alive. Jeez.
And then, so it has to fit in tight, so it's like you get to the last piece and it's like you really got to jam that in there.
Yeah. We have that issue. Oh, man, when we were doing the channeled backs for Celaya, they were like tufted channels.
Oh, it was like on the wall, right?
Yeah. Oh, my God. That was such a pain.
That was another one that we
those
priced out with you. That was with the same designer that this stupid sectional and this other bullcrap is for. Was like that a banquette with a big they wanted 9 foot tall, and when I gave them the price, they're like, oh, our budget was that was like made up almost like half of the budget of the whole scope of work, and I'd priced out a mail room, this, that, and everything. I'm like, well, they're like, can we save some money? I'm like, well, first of all, get rid of this 9 foot tall by 10 feet wide channeled back.
It's insane that like some designers don't realize like what the costs are.
They need to know this stuff because
we can get you some
integral to their business.
Well, I've had a couple. I mean, I'm only 33, but I've had like I said before, I have so much experience just from my parents running the business, and like when I went to this upholstery meetup, they were picking my brain and all this stuff, and it's mind blowing because I don't know, like people don't understand like the time it takes to do a job.
Yeah.
And that's the rub. And I had a learning moment with a designer recently, and she's like, oh, I want a banquette tufted. And she's like, well, it's 10 or 12 inches by 160. And I'm like, okay, no problem. And I give her a price, and she's like, Jesus. Like, what the hell? Like, are you building? Like, what are you building this out of? And I'm like, no, tufting is freaking insane.
Yeah, it's like, tell me without telling me that this is your first time pricing out a.
Yeah.
Well, like I think designers, as they're trying to get into like bigger stuff, like I think Jacqueline does a very great job in her design game. Like she's got it going, but like a lot of designers don't realize like what it takes to build some of this like glamorous stuff.
Yeah. Because you might see a piece, you could buy this thing on Wayfair and it's tufted and it's only $299.
So when I priced the last project out for this client, it was like 120 hours of work because of the tufting. And it was double the time, actually, almost triple because of the tufting. Mm-hmm. It's just sitting there tufting, and it just takes forever. And like, people just think it comes out of like thin air, like this process, like, but it's like, it sucks, man. It takes forever. And then a step under that's the channeling. Like it's the same thing. We learned a different way to channel of late. So it's been a little less time consuming, but it's still like double the time than a regular like banquette. Like those two banquettes that the 43-foot long banquette that we finished, that was like 2 weeks of labor, maybe a little bit more, and that was 3 people and me. So like you could say 4 people doing the work.
It's crazy.
Yeah, and there was a lot of moving parts. And I mean, you see the shop. We literally had a setup in the back where Robert would be working on the one. Then we had Angelica just sewing. Robert was also cutting, and Aiden and myself were putting stuff together in the front. And then just getting it out the door, and then the guy coming to pick it. Was like 5 stations in my little shop. And it's just, you're always like, just like juggling. Like I said, my parents' garage is a great place for storage, even though I'm in the hothouse for that. And then my mom's like, I'm trying to downsize.
It's like, I got rid of my Cadillac so you can put furniture in here.
Pretty much. There's like a couple sofas in the garage right now. So I
tried to be my house.
well, what are you going to do? That's money.
Yeah.
Yeah, we would bring stuff in. It's like, hey, you're going to have to move the dining room table over. We're bringing in a piece.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I'm not that crazy. I think my parents would chop my head off, but they're cool with it. My dad's just, I think, super appreciative that I'm doing the business.
Yeah, doing it proud.
Oh, yeah.
My mom didn't want me to do the business because she just, she saw the struggle of my father, and the money wasn't always there. But now that it's such a niche market, and I've kind of saw that, and I tried to become I tried to take over the business like 10 years ago or so. And part of me's always wanted to do this because it's something I've always enjoyed doing, but working with your family is very hard.
Yeah.
So that's, you can't really leave that at the door.
Just visiting's hard.
Yeah. That's literally why I have a garden at my parents', just to get my Zen place, just to be able to do the couple hours that I do. But it's true. And my dad didn't want to retire. I talked with the woodworker at this upholstery meetup, and same thing, his dad is in his 70s and
didn't want to let go.
He still doesn't want to let go. And it's just like, what are you going to do? You're going to carry a couch? That's kind of how my grandfather died in the industry. He was working until he was 82 and he died.
That's crazy.
And it's just like, I don't want to be that. Like, for me, it's like, I want to get like west of the Rockies and like Montana or whatever in Colorado.
Oh, you're going to fit right in Montana.
Oh, yeah. So I enjoy the mountains and just the wilderness. I mean, I had some, not deja vu, just, I guess, bringing back old memories as I drove down here, because my grandparents had B&Bs in Belmar.
Oh, cool.
So once they retired from Hoboken, they would open these B&Bs. And my mom, that was her first job as a little kid. And I grew up at one of the last houses that they had. And fortunately, my mother sold it a year before COVID.
Wow.
Yeah, I want to cry. They tore it down, built a mansion.
Wow.
She's the house was in Lake Como.
Mm-hmm.
It was a block from the lake, 2 blocks from the ocean, like right by DJ's area.
Oh, okay.
So that's where my mom used to hang out. But yeah, she had a whole Hoboken background. They're both self-made. My parents, my grandparents, my grandmother worked in the library in Hoboken for ages, and my grandfather was like a handyman around Hoboken. And like, I wear his jacket in the shop sometimes. It has his name embroidered in and like says Property of Hoboken Library on it. So that's pretty neat.
That's cool.
Little touch of history there. But it's for me, I'm very, I don't know, it's just a lot of gratefulness and passion and just like love. I feel just being able to do what I'm doing. I mean, I see you guys and you basically the same thing. Like you go home and you think about it. It's
there's no other way to do it.
Not always positive thoughts. Sometimes there's anxiety. Or whatever,
hey man, this we were talking before we came on the air this morning. The one client with the 43-foot long banquette hits me up and he's like, "Oh, it's too long, and we're not gonna hit our licenses and our coding and all this." And I'm like, number one, I trust Jeff and Rob that they're going to do exactly what they say. Mm-hmm. And then I trust myself, and I'm like, there's no way. And, we still had to tighten them up and everything when we were there. And like, they shrunk another 6-7 inches, which made it 43 inches. And it was great, but it's just like, you never know with a business what's around the corner.
Yeah.
Barn doors.
Honestly. And even to get like this time to like, just do this has been like, it's been great, but like, I've scheduled around it, and I'm like super fortunate that you guys have had me, number one, and thank you. And just to like be able to get out of the office, like it's
good for us too.
Yeah.
This is sort of like our regularly scheduled. We do this every either Wednesday or Thursday. Anywhere from an hour to 3 hours or something, and it's like, it's almost like therapy, and like,
because we just talk.
Yeah.
That's the big thing. Like, you get to talk about the industry between yourselves, right? But you don't get to hear like another person's like insight. And like, that's what like that upholstery meetup was. That was just like a bunch of freaking, people just getting down, it was she got, beers and everything was great. And we're all just like cracking up about like this and that and the other thing, just like industry stuff that's stupid and like crap that we've had to deal with that has given us agita and like that no one else realizes as a business owner of an upholstery shop. So, but it's so cool to see like you take that outlet and to put it into here, especially just for your mental state, like where you get to like add like a different side of the actual job itself, like where you get to incorporate like this into it. So, I don't know if there's an upholstery podcast coming soon, but it's pretty neat.
Cool.
I could get that going, right?
We'd listen.
You guys would be one of my first guests.
We've met quite a few very cool people doing this.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. You just meet so many.
When you let somebody talk for a couple of hours, you really learn.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And just the networking, like who you can meet. I mean, just like that connector for us with Jacqueline was amazing. I mean, we've done quite a few jobs with Jacqueline as well as just with you, like just separate jobs. It's just been really cool. Which, I mean, like I love the scenery company that we were working with, but we were like kind of small fries to them. They did a lot of like giant stuff in like the windows, Macy's Day Parades, all that kind of stuff. And
we're not there quite yet.
Yeah, well, thank you for that. So I kind of, I didn't take it personally, but like I understood, like the margins aren't exactly there for
they're doing 6-figure and up jobs.
Well, pretty much, and they're getting shipped stuff throughout the whole country. So like it was just taking a longer process. So just finding like a quality craftsman is like a godsend, and like
we're like, hey, you need a bank? Yeah, we'll start on Monday.
Yeah. Well, it's been a great partnership, honestly. I mean, and I'm sure for the next 10, 20 years, we're gonna keep it growing, and hopefully.
What's the saying? Your mouth to God's ears, or whatever, something like that.
I mean, and hopefully we meet some other. I'm trying to meet other people to like extend my business. I'm trying to stay in my lane, but like just like drapery people, catering people. I mean, just finding someone. The Danish company in Lenoba, he literally sits there and does everything by himself. It's like a whole day. You're just painstaking, and it's just one chair.
It's crazy.
It's miserable. You're sitting there. We used to have a Dominican lady, really nice. She would just like her kids running around the shop, and you basically just had her sitting there just caning away. And this smaller than this was her like whole shop, and it was like a legit like storefront, but she just had like chairs in it. But like I said, no one does this stuff anymore. No one does carpentry anymore, and if you do, it's like dime a dozen. I've met a couple other carpenters that we've worked with through designers and just through people that are having stuff built. But I would say partnership wise, I've done more work with you than anybody else. So
I love it.
Grateful for that.
Yeah.
What was I going to add? Can't think now. Oh, we're trying to get a meetup going.
Yeah.
You'd fit right in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I see you guys kind of go around into a lot of different meetups. I mean, where or what type of meetup specifically? Just an industry, like everybody in like trades?
Yeah. Well, like when we're supposed to do a ribbon cutting here at some point. They've been wanting to do it since the beginning of the year when we moved in, but we wanted to get the building painted and stuff.
Yeah, no, it's a lot of work, man.
So we figured we'd lump that in with have people in. They could check out the shop, cook some food, hang out.
That would be
Do
great
a little
idea.
Networking.
Yeah. Oh hell yeah, that'd be a great idea.
Other woodworkers, upholsterers, whoever, designers, architects.
Don't know if there's many upholsterers that would show up.
Actually, we have one in town. She's not an upholsterer per se, but she does like drapes and pillows and stuff like that.
Yeah. So that's the one key that every upholstery shop tries to find, just like that seamstress, because that's the hardest thing. But if you have that, you have a well-oiled machine. You have a gut guy, you have a cutter, a sewer, and upholsterer.
Yeah.
You can just bang out stuff.
It's like a shop. You need a guy cutting the parts, you need a guy putting them together, and you need a guy finishing them.
My times have basically almost halved because of having a seamstress now. And it's been great. my problem is being able to generate the business, which
to keep her busy.
Yeah, which is great. So, I mean, you know, when during the heyday of COVID, like I said, it was like 6 to 8 weeks, but now we're like on like a 1 to 2 month wait. So it's not too bad. Usually I tell customers that like you want a sofa, you know, it's like 4 to 8 weeks. You know, it just depends how, you know, how much ambition you have too. Like you got to come into the shop if you don't have fabric. Like whatever, if you're older, I'll definitely come and, you know, do whatever I need to help you. But at the end of the day, like it's much easier. There's thousands of books. Come to the shop, give me a deposit. We'll come pick up the piece, take it apart, bring it back to you.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't really, I don't know. And like the main problem, or I would guess you could say the main like complaint, I guess you can have is like we have the furniture for, you know, a long period of time. Like that's it. Like, you know, we make beautiful work, but it's patience.
Yeah.
You know,
I had one upholstery job done, you know, back in the old days. It's actually in Jersey City.
All right.
It was an upholstered headboard, and I didn't know anything about upholstery. This was at Edwina in Red Bank.
Oh, yeah.
So the client had the fabric. It was like this blue suede kind of fabric. And I felt comfortable because she was like, well, which way do you want this to run? And I don't see any.
What the hell is running, right?
Yeah. She's like, no, look, you know, she's running her hand on it. She's like, and then if I put it this way, then the seam is. I'm like,
looks different. Yeah, you're gonna.
I knew she knew 10 times more than I did. I just said, I'd
just
bring
go
you
for it.
The headboard. You do the upholstery.
That's one thing I do like about a lot of, I shouldn't say a lot. I'll say some designers, like, or even just clients in general, like they'll let you use your professional expertise.
Yep. Yeah, that's
it.
Why would I tell her which way to do it?
Isn't it insane? Like
that's with Jacqueline. That's like one of the things that we always liked about her. It's like she would give like the overarching idea, but then she would defer to us, which is like, man, nobody ever does that for us, you know?
I feel like you need that just because it gives you a little like creativity in there, because all it is your imagination and creativity at the end of the day. Like you're literally making something with your hands. Like, you know, it's not just like a factory type thing. That's why, like, you know, Jacqueline's been great, and like, you know, just like, and she brings us projects that are different and unique.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you saw, we made a table for another designer, really cool designer in Jersey City, Crystal from DBK. But she kind of wanted that same thing, and we took a glass table, and we put a platform on top of it, you know, just regular piece of wood, and upholstered it, put a cushion on top of it, and there you go. You got a secondhand piece for something that was sentimental to that client. So I would honestly, that's probably like 25 to 35% of our business, just straight sentimental.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely feel, you know, you feel great about yourself in those like saves. We did a cool one with Jacqueline for a Valentine's Day like surprise, which was really awesome. Where a client wanted to, you know, get a chair done as just a present for his wife, and it like she was so surprised and stunned, and like, you know, it's just a cool thing to be a part of. And I was happy that we were able to make it work. But yeah, no, it's demanding industry, and just it's exciting to just like work on these pieces because every piece has a story. I don't know if you know like Jack White, White Stripes. Like he was an upholsterer.
Really?
Like so.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was an upholsterer in Detroit.
Wow.
So he would put his lyrics in the upholstery.
Wow.
Yeah. So if you're in Detroit listening and you're tearing your sofa apart, look for the lyrics.
Yeah, because it's probably worth some money.
Yeah, maybe Jack White will give you something. But yeah, he did that for quite a few years before becoming like the musician that he is now. I mean, he was always a musician, but
before becoming famous and self-supporting.
So, I mean, I see the upholstery game as like a neat, creative, like, you know, like you're an artist guy, like you're an artsy type of person like that rock star.
It's so like a sustainable art form, you know. You can't have a steady paying job as a fine, I mean, you can, but as like a fine painter, you know, I paint pictures and sell them. Like, that's really hard.
Yeah.
Being a woodworker or an upholsterer or whatever.
everybody's going to always need you.
Yeah, you can do something that is creative and is an art at the end of the day and still make a living, you know, and with some level of security.
There's a lot of art galleries, like I said, in Jersey City, and I did work for a guy who's a wonderful client, and saw one of his paintings. It was, I don't know if it's supposed to be the World Trade or something, very Gotham black and, you know, everything. And I look at the price tag and it's almost 6 figures. And I'm like, why didn't I charge this man, you know, triple the price? But, you know, that's, you know, it's a little different in the art, you know, world. But I that's what in my mind I'm trying to get to, like a high end appeal, like, because nobody has 40 years experience in upholstering or 50 years experience and the knowledge that we have. So
no, those guys are all gone.
Isn't it insane? I was saying that before, like during COVID, I know of 3 upholsterers that died in Jersey City. They were just all older. And unfortunately, like, you know, that's what happened. It's just like my father, he got lucky. I mean, so that was 2 existing upholstery shops that basically just closed right then and there.
Yeah, I think my uncle's shop closed in the 80s.
Yeah. Oh.
There was nobody left to take it over.
That's what it is. Like, who wants to do backbreaking work? Like, and yeah, all of us we're us idiots
for punishment.
But it's you know, right now, like the country's gearing you more towards profitability wise. Like you're going to gear towards a trade school. You're going to make a lot of money if you go to a trade school. You join a union. You're going to be set for life. I mean, we're taking the hard route here.
Yeah, we're entrepreneurs. Yeah,
so
we don't have to follow any rules, though.
That is really fun. And unlike you guys, I sleep a little in sometimes. I mean, you guys are nuts. I like 4 a.m.
We get up early, though.
Yeah, that's true. I stay late.
I got up at 3:30 today.
Holy crap. Yeah, Robert's up at 5 o'clock. He's like, I can't sleep. I'm coming in at 6:30, 5 o'clock, or 7 o'clock. I'm like, Robert, whatever you want to do. And then, you know, we'll lock up at 7 o'clock, which is great. But not many people want to work like that anymore. Yeah. But if you got the time and like,
if you like what you do, that's the thing, you know?
Yeah. And like our work environment's really cool. Grill out in the back. You know, Fridays we'll go out, have a couple drinks or whatever, just order food and kind of chill. It's a very relaxed work environment.
It has to be. Otherwise it's too much. It becomes too much of work. You know?
Well, honestly, like my dad was that guy that was just looking over your shoulder and he's like, let me see what you're doing. Like
Tom.
I don't have time for that. Like I don't want to make you feel uncomfortable. I want you to do the best work you can do. And sometimes the best work you can do is me going on a podcast and them staying in the store and working.
Yeah.
Because you come back and things just happened while you were gone. You know?
No, it's great.
It's like magic.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing. Our newest hire is always like amazed. She was like blown away by these 43-foot-long banquettes that came in. She's like, oh my God, where'd that come from? So, you know, everybody's always working. Like I'm always, you know, I'm wheeling and dealing, trying to get like more furniture, more jobs in the shop. But, you know, I also know my worth. And I'm like, even if I'm not busy, I'm just like, I'm not going to take this job. Like, it's not worth it. Like, I will just.
That's smart.
Yeah. For us, it used to be in the industry, January, February. That's when you kind of settled down and, you know, took stock of what you had, threw whatever out, you know, paint, do any, you know, cleaning that you need to do. Because everybody from Labor Day on through the holidays are like, I need this tomorrow, you know, and they won't stop.
Why is that?
I don't know.
I think it's the way of our culture now, but it all ties around like everybody trying to show off to their family and friends. Like, look at my brand new upholstered sofa or
look
chair.
At my Cadillac.
Dining room. Yeah. Look at my dining room table, chairs that everybody's sitting on for dinner. Aren't they nice? You know, people want that vibe.
You got Easter, and then it goes into Mother's Day, and then it's graduation, and then Memorial Day, 4th of July.
Right now is like, this is the lull too, because you have graduation and people traveling, which is usually I take some time off in August and like we'll close the shop for like a week or two just to get our breath, because like it's always like a grind. You're always hustling, like here, obviously. And it gets to be a lot. But Yeah, like it's a little slow now, but like I said, like a month or two of work, but being able to catch up is so big. Like just being able to get that stuff that's been in the shop for 6 months or whatever that or like that people don't care about. That's always important. But like I don't know. I'm very grateful that somehow, even when we're slow, like I don't have to do anything, and the emails like kind of come in, the phone's ringing.
You're supporting 3 or 4 families.
Yeah.
I'm supporting 4 families. 3 families full time and 1 family part time, and then myself technically. So it's pretty cool, and I've made it where I have like a livable wage. Like my dad was making $200 on the books. My mom was making $500, I think, on the books, and like they were more into the real estate side of it. Like that's how they were making their money. I'm here grinding away, trying to take as many like of the bigger jobs that I can get, and like just like where I've now like that big contract I got with that Hyatt hotel has made it possible for me to now have that salary. I mean, I had like $300 in the bank during COVID, like during that like the bad part.
It's crazy how quick it gets down there. It's like you always manage to just eke it out,
We do that too.
We had a couple months,
shit, man.
Since moving, but it was so expensive to move. Where it's like,
it's ridiculous.
It's like we got to do this install so we can get a check today because tomorrow is the first of the month.
No, it's unreal, man. Like even if you have 10 grand in the bank, that's not enough.
No,
nothing.
That's
nothing.
That's literally like this week. I have to pay my taxes, obviously our quarterly, and that's like that's like $6,000 coming out. So that makes you cry a little bit. But I'm just thankful that
you do sales and use.
Yeah.
So just that was like another whatever.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's a lot easier with the internet now to do all that shit.
It's easy to do. It's hard to pay.
Exactly.
I mean?
And like there was those time periods where I'm like having a heart attack that I'm gonna have to pay. Like I've had my best quarter ever, but then I have to pay like $15,000, and you're just like you see that money one day and then the next day it's gone, and
you see it going in, and then you're like, I forgot that this huge chunk is gonna come right back out.
I mean, you lick your chops for like those big jobs like we just did. I mean, because that's going to be such a great payday for me, but that's going towards quarterly and that's going towards pay for everybody else.
It's very hard for businesses our size to get too far ahead.
Yeah.
There's certain limitations. We're trying to, pivot and broaden what we do, and I think we're going to be pretty successful at it. I think
little by little.
Yeah, this first kitchen, you could see some of the hiccups and things like that, but it's pretty. There's a lot of hope there because even given it's being the very first time, and all the different things going on, you can see how it could work.
Yeah, I mean, you got to learn somehow, and it's always the school of hard knocks. So
now, would you guys take on an apprentice, or do you want to?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, like somebody unpaid, we can maybe work. Like, I think we've had times where we were probably busy enough where we could have brought someone in, but it's like you were saying, like I don't want to bring someone in unless we can pay them a livable wage, and you know what I mean.
That's a lot.
Especially in New Jersey. I mean, this is like the worst area to be in. Saying before I went to school in Pennsylvania, I mean, I think I was paying like $300 to $400 in rent. I was living with a couple people, but still,
that's what I paid. Yeah, like $400.
Exactly. Like here, it's insane.
It was $1,200 for a full house with 3 guys living.
Mind blowing.
Yeah.
But then here, I mean, you can't afford that. Thank God. I mean, not thank God. My friends in Pennsylvania, they all have houses, and they're all like, Jim, we bought our house when we were like 25, 26 because it was only $150,000. I'm like, that's a down payment here. Well, not down payment, but pretty close to it here.
Yeah.
I mean, it's ridiculous. So that's one of the reasons why I would love to get out of Jersey. I mean, not now, but whenever hopefully I have a kid or a son that maybe wants to be the 4th generation, take this to 100 years, like that'd be great. And then I can retire out and kind of get that satisfaction that my parents got, or at least my dad got, from me taking over the business. I do still try to bring him into the business a little as well, just because like he needs something to do.
Yeah.
My mom would kill him if he was in the house the whole time. So,
keeps you young, especially when that was your thing.
Yeah, there's a distributor of upholstery supplies kind of by their place, and send him there once in a while, or just send him like measure stuff, and like he gets a kick out of it and he loves it. So yeah, I don't know, like I definitely feel like a lot of love from my parents for actually taking this on, because I don't think many people wanted to. Like there's a meat market down the block from us. They were called Maloney's Meat Market.
Oh, yeah. I recognize the sign.
So there for over 150 years, right?
Wow.
Yeah.
He had 2 kids. They didn't want to take it on. They had 2 white-collar jobs. They had that building for over 150 years. How much did they pay for that building? The guy who had it, Maloney, Tommy, he retired and gave it to one of the kids that was working for him. One day he like showed up and the place was just locked up and closed, and that was it.
Oh, what a shame.
So, that's horrible.
Yeah. I mean, it's tough. I mean, it's same with the upholsterers in Jersey City. A lot of the kids either, the daughters, number one, had no urge to do it, just because like carrying stuff. And then like, the sons didn't want to get involved in it because it took a lot of like blood, sweat, and tears.
It's hard work, no matter how you slice this.
Yeah.
It's actually kind of funny that some of the people that I met upholstery-wise at this meetup, they're women upholsterers getting into the industry. And I said, how do you, logistics, moving stuff? And they're like, just hiring guys. The one in Brooklyn, she had 15 maybe people working there. It was insane. I'm blown away. I've never, like, my shop is, it looks like, controlled chaos, like you said. But this one was great. It everything was in a plastic bag. Measurements were signed off on a piece of paper. This step, every measurement had to sign up. Next step, sewing machine. Okay, now this person has to sign off. Then it goes to this, the upholstering. I was blown. I've never seen an upholstery shop like that. But that's what you need. You need a warehouse space.
Yeah.
And then, like I told you guys, they had the, what do you call it, a CMC machine in the next workshop. So you can't beat that.
Making frames.
I mean, that's, and I can only imagine how much one of those frickers cost.
Oh, yeah. Like
over $100,000.
Yeah, like a base one, like starting 50 grand, for like a 4x8, 4x8.
A normal business can't really afford that.
No, you have to do like we did with the Edge Banner. You got to pay, $1,200 a month for 5 years.
I mean, you got to do what you got to do. As long as that, investment is, doubling and tripling, like during like your obviously like your gross, pull in, like as long as you're making the money, that's all that matters.
It opens up. It's like buying a tool that makes you able to do something you couldn't do.
Okay.
Right.
So it creates a whole new...
like if you didn't have that Juki and people kept coming to you and saying, can you do these leather? You're like, we can't. We could do it. We could do something by hand or whatever. This is probably a bad example as a non-upholsterer. But it would take you 5 times longer, and the outcome
out of it.
The outcome would be half as good. Well, if you had that Juki, you could do it faster and better. So now, you spent the money on it, but now you can take on these other types of jobs.
That's our Juki.
So it's expanded your business.
Yeah.
So
I mean, we edge banded that whole kitchen in an hour.
Oh, how long would that have taken?
We couldn't do it.
2 days, 3 days.
That's insane.
And the outcome would have been nowhere near as good.
I don't even know if we could do it in 3 days, all the handwork afterwards.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's how, a small mom and pop shop, what are you going to,
it's a risk.
That. Yeah.
You got to go into debt. That's
literally,
that's
you got to make sure that, you're going to be able, you got to gamble on yourself.
Yeah. It's a gamble.
Yeah.
Literally.
But what else do you do? We could still be back in the backyard.
Yeah. I mean, I think you've done well for yourself. So you're doing pretty okay. This is this is an awesome shop. You got a cool setup. Yeah. You're just missing that bar. It's coming soon.
It's a start.
You can make one. What are we talking about? I'm in the right area. I'll upholster it. There you go.
Yeah.
What we need is a nice, like, big U-shaped banquette right here. Put this table there.
Really nice
microphones.
really warm.
For the podcast.
Some hair on the wall, velvet or something.
Channeled backs to the ceiling.
Oh, yeah. Get really.
You can hook us up.
We'll get a designer in here.
8-foot channel backs, that's it.
I'm thinking about channeling the whole room, actually.
We'll get, we get concerts in here, everything, too. We'll get some music.
We'll get some pool noodles from the dollar store and staple them to the wall.
Boy, yeah.
One guy, 10 minutes. That was an expression over at the old place. One guy, 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh boy. I don't know. That for me, your journey is like so spectacular, and I love that you've shared that journey with me, from just like how you guys met and how, like humble beginnings with, starting off in like the restaurant industry, and then like starting from your, the backyard, the barn, and then just seeing this, like the fruit of your labor.
And we were teachers.
I know. I love that. And I wanted to bring that up. Well, I think I did bring that up before, that like our connection, we have that history connection that we're not using our degrees, but I think, for me, it educated me and made me the person who I am.
It does. If you study history beyond high school history, which is, all just the stupid numbers and dates and everything, it's ridiculous, really, the curriculum. But if you study it in university, it gives you such a different outlook. And I guess you have to have that inside of you, that urge to look outside your own little world, to take in all these other views. But that's what it did to me. It changed my whole world view.
That and travel. Your mind will just open up fully from that. It's just, there's nothing better for someone who's closed-minded than to just take a trip somewhere new and like experience something that they're uncomfortable with. And sometimes that could be college.
Yeah,
I think that's just a very broadening place.
That was the thing.
Especially if you're sheltered.
I was studying radio and television, cool. Production and all this other stuff. And I had this history class, and I thought it would be a throwaway class. The history professor was just so cool and so enthusiastic and passionate about it. I said, wow, man, I never had a teacher like this before, ever. So I wound up taking another one and another one, and that's how it
came to.
Yeah.
Me, I always loved history, and I had no idea. I think the education system in this country is so whacked out. It should be more like Europe, where you have some time to actually travel and kind of experience life a little bit, to say, oh, this is what I want to get involved in at whatever, like 20, instead of 18. Here you go. Here's your whole life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like what's the percentage of people who change majors once? It's got to be like 85%.
And then what's the people, and then dwindle it down another sense to say, okay, what's the, how many people use that actual degree? You got to go back to grad school, and grad school is never cheap. I know so many people that are in debt, and they're like, Jim, I'm going to be paying this stuff off till I'm 50.
Mm-hmm. That's crazy. It's ridiculous. That's criminal. We've talked about this before, but several times we disagree with the whole setup and the mechanism of the costs. And
that's why you just have to be smart with what you're choosing, but not many people at that age can be.
How can you be?
Yeah,
How
18, I'll go to a school that's $50,000 because that sounds reasonable.
You don't have you don't have the wherewithal to make those decisions that are foisted upon you. It's like,
and you see how impressionable grown adults are, let alone a 17-year-old kid. You do what you're told is the right thing to do, basically.
I wish there was more trade schools out there that would help. The kid that works for me, his name's Aiden. Shout you out, Aiden. Robert's grandson. He's the sweetest kid in the world. He just graduated. He's 18, and he wants to go to mechanic school. $38,000 a year.
Oh my God.
I said, in a freaking mechanic school. I cannot believe it. So it's pretty mind blowing. But I went to a crappy little liberal arts school, and I think it was $13,000 at the time. So I got lucky there compared to others.
Yeah, I think it was in the 30s, I think. At WVU.
It's like over the top. I just I freak out about how someone can like sign up for that. Like I have a couple clients that are in like their 60s and like they went back to school and they were older and they're like, yeah, Jim, I'm paying off my loans. I'm like, you're 65. What are you doing?
I went back and graduated when I was 40. But
you paid off and all good?
Yeah.
All right.
Well, listen to this. This is part of what gets me all worked up about it. I was paying 0.9% interest.
Wow. Yeah, I was not.
Yeah, so this wasn't a long, really, I mean, it's 23 years ago now when I graduated.
I can't remember how much I paid.
Mine are 8.
I think it was 7 or 8% for me. That's what I was saying.
That's not cool.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's I'm thankful, like, you know, my parents helped me. I think I paid like 30,000 of it off, and I mean, I was teaching, so I was living at home. I had no.
Oh yeah,
that's
why I went back. To get the full degree to teach.
I was my first teaching job in New Jersey, $626 a week.
Yeah, right.
Like, how are you going to pay off your loans or live in New Jersey?
Or shape the minds of the youth. You know, here we're tasking you with this immensely important job.
That's similar to my thing. I worked at Baruch College,
and same, just kind of
couple of $100 a week. I'm like, man, I can't live.
Yeah, I history teachers were easy to come by when I was like 10 years ago when I was trying to be a teacher, and like you just find them anywhere. I mean, there was some Catholic schools, Muslim schools, like whatever. I didn't care. I just wanted a job, and like they want to give you less than $30K a year, and you're just like, holy crap! How are you going to?
Yeah, well, there were all those starter schools in Newark, the charters.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
those and
nightmare stories, man.
And the pay was low too.
Yeah, and you got to stay till like 4 or 5 o'clock.
Yeah, long days.
Oh, it's miserable.
I thought the urban schools are supposed to pay better.
Well, these were
the public schools.
Yeah, these were these charter schools.
Yeah, I worked in one in Patterson, and like just terrible. Like just, it was more of a business platform, and like the administration, quote unquote, CEO would always be like looking at you, making sure everything was being done right, and it's just like, oh boy.
Yeah,
so,
that's why I became a teacher.
Right,
yeah.
Very
micromanaged.
Right,
I like the supervision.
Yeah,
I'm so grateful that I had this to like kind of jump into, and I kind of knew that I had this, and like I don't want I knew my dad was older, and he wanted to keep it going, and he just wasn't ready to, back away from it. And literally, the whole, I guess the moment that changed my life, we were in the car in the summertime because I would help him in the summer. I'd go on vacation for like a month and then come back and do a month with him. And my mother had just got hurt. She had fallen and broke her shoulder. So they put her shoulder on backwards.
What?
Yeah. So she, like, lifting her arm is like a really pain in the ass thing. Yeah.
Oh, how?
Yeah. She like slipped on their kitchen floor, and like that was it. So, and my mom was running a business at that point. She like ran shout out to my mom. She like ran the business when my dad was sick with cancer, while being his nurse and everything. And Robert was a part of it too, and he did such a great job and continues to. I mean, I don't think you can get a better employee / friend, like lifelong friend, and just part of the family, honestly. Because he's so passionate about his work, and because both of us are so passionate, like we're just able to kind of gel together and do, these extraordinary projects at such a high clip, because we're trying to grind away and make a better future for both of us. So it's been really cool. But yeah, after my mother, after that, my dad's like, hey, I'm 72. And I'm like, it's too much. And at that point, I stepped in. It was the slowest August that I think I've ever gone through in the business. And I was like, the hell am I doing? What the frick did I call my mom, like, what the hell? Like, you didn't tell me it was going to be like this. So, I'm thankful that I'm, able to go back and ask them for any pointers or whenever I have issue. But, I don't really need their help anymore. I mean, I'm grateful for the help that they give me, but anytime I need it, like they're always there. But,
now you're helping them.
Well, yeah, but it's truly intense. Like my parents never thought we'd do the business we've been doing. But even before that, they've done like their biggest project. They did like 500 chairs for Goldman Sachs building.
Wow. That's a lot.
Yeah, that was, and it was I did part of it in the summertime, but it was just Robert and my mom and dad doing 500 chairs, seat and
It's
back.
like the salt boxes.
It's like an entire year's worth of work, I feel like.
It's pretty insane, right? I think that was like 3 months. So we would do it in sets of 25s. It'd be 25s, and like, going back and forth. And it was such a pain in the ass because we didn't have the correct COI. They wanted $2 million worth of insurance for
It's like listen, we're just dropping off chairs.
Literally. And I'm like, what the? We're doing work there again for the Royal Bank of Canada in that same building, and same thing. Like you need like $2 million worth of.
We had some issues with that, yeah, and specifically Jersey City, Hoboken. They're real. I
mean, it's just like I'm going to pick up a couple cushions and you want like that much umbrella coverage. Like, I'm sorry, like this is not possible. They're like, if you, I always tell them like,
threw the chair and it just went through the window and then it fell down and
hit the queen.
Yeah. I've done that a couple times. I'm like, hey, if you could bring the piece out, just leave it there, and I'll just randomly happen to be there, and we'll pick it up. So that happens a lot.
It's like, no, I'm off the clock. I'm not working right now. I'm just doing a favor for somebody.
But that guy,
25 favors.
that guy through that company that we did that work with became a great friend. He's got a company called SKM in Long Island City, and he I don't know, he knew somebody or just maybe did great work in one hand, like one person to one person. He's the contractor of that Goldman Sachs building.
Wow.
As well as we've done work for like Google and YouTube, and he's the contractor for that Chelsea Market building, as well as like the Nike building that we do work for. He's really hooked us up with all these interesting people, and also just different restaurants in the city. One on Saks Fifth Ave, like all this crazy stuff. This restaurant on Saks Fifth Ave, they had a designer come in from France. It's a French place called La Avenue. And they decided to use untreated leather. So on all of their seating, and like it's just like after a year, it just looked like someone peed on everything. And they paid all this money for like, fine Italian leather and like all these French beautiful pieces, and it's just all ruined. So that's the one thing you got to worry about with some people that like don't know their stuff. Some of the like
the bright ideas they may have.
Yeah, well,
look
just
good on the sample tray.
Well, just some designers that like they're like newer into the industry or don't know. Like, well, like that's like a rookie mistake. That like holy crap, that's like huge.
Like trying to push the boundaries, but taking off a too big of a bite.
Yeah, and unfortunately, that will bite you in the long run because they paid 6-7 figures to get all of this furniture. It wasn't just they got it reupholstered; they bought this furniture and shipped it from France. So, but yeah, and then to end on like, my dad with the business, he literally is just like, hey, the business is yours. We're in the money machine, aka the minivan. That thing has made so much money, and they got in the clunker deal in 2008. So he got the financial assistance of $4,500 from the government, and then he got money from Chrysler, and then he got money from the bailout. So it was the bailout in the Chrysler, and it was $9,000 or $10,000, and I think that van was $1,600 or $16,000.
Wow!
And everybody always looks at us like, "You're gonna pick up my shit in that?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm gonna pick it up in that. That is the money machine. Yeah, this is my." I used to feel like a soccer dad in that thing when I started. Like when I started running the business for my parents when they were still running the shop in like my early 20s. When I got back from college, I was like, I'm a freaking loser. What the hell am I doing?
We used to pull up in a U-Haul van.
Yeah.
Hey, I still, like those big projects, like I have to get a U-Haul, and that's okay. I needed probably a truck like you guys, honestly. But the minivan's great. The seats just fold down, and like you just, you can fit a sectional in there.
I know a couple guys who are like, carpenters, cabinet makers who drive minivans.
Yeah.
That's what you got to do.
Yeah.
I mean, the seats just go down into it and boom. So
I have a guy, like if I ever have an appliance that that I'm getting rid of. I call this guy. He like fixes them up and gives them to people who need them.
Okay, cool.
And he's got a minivan. He's like, I could fit 4x8 sheet of plywood. Like he literally has a sheet of plywood in the back. He like throws a washing machine back there, you know.
That's literally, I mean, I can't, so the minivans moved me in and out of college, moved my friends in and out of their places. You know, it's just, it's funny how much you can fit in there. And then if not, on top works too. Unless you got a banquette, that would be weird.
That's funny.
A 43-footer.
Yeah. No thanks. That wouldn't be fun. I can't remember the banquette. Oh, I delivered the banquette from, and that fit in the red ones. They fit in the car.
Wow.
I don't understand how those fit, but
Those are
200
big.
inches. Yeah. Just kind of put the red flag on it and boom. So pretty cool stuff.
Well, we're about to tick over the 3-hour mark.
I think I'm good, man.
So we should
wrap it up,
Yeah.
man. It was wonderful. I loved, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock. Holy
We
crap.
knew this was going to run.
Did you?
I had a feeling.
Yeah. Hey, man, I like to talk, and, you know, it's always cool talking to you guys, and it's always neat just, like, learning about the industry.
We're going to have you back.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
If you have other guests that would even make it better, like just like other woodworkers that you'd want to get on, like at the same time, that'd be cool, like a round table discussion.
Oh, yeah.
That'd be fucking...
We got one more mic.
Yeah.
Okay.
We've done a couple with 4 people.
Yeah.
Okay.
We might get a designer in here and
Yeah.
That'd
somebody.
be cool, Jacqueline. I mean, to get both of us to get 3 takes from the industry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Jacqueline's got the top spot for episode right now, so yours isn't out yet. You could take the top spot.
Yeah.
I don't know with my rambling if I'll take the top spot, but I'll
People love
sure
it.
try.
People love
Oh,
it.
boy.
The longer the episode, the better.
Yeah. They feel like they're getting their money's worth.
Oh,
Yeah.
boy. Well, I hope I don't know if I taught anybody about anything about upholstery, but, you know, it's definitely a neat industry to learn about. And
I think it's cool because I don't know if people have been exposed to it as much, at least our
And
audience.
especially, as woodworkers, cabinet makers, we it's very beneficial for us to get a glimpse at any of these other trades that we work with, you know,
Mm-hmm.
just to better understand.
yeah, just getting an idea. I mean, honestly, look at the banquettes we've created. I mean, you've gotten better, like time-wise at making them, I'm sure. And just like, it's just like you perfect certain things that, you know.
Yeah, just figured it out. I mean, we were like way overbuilding them in the beginning. We probably still are overbuilding them, but you know,
That's
we
our
found,
style.
Yeah, we just
As
found,
long as the customer likes it, that's all we care
Yeah.
about.
yeah,
We just don't want a failure. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
the whole thing. Oh, this is good.
You
those
haven't-
the legs killed
Yeah.
us. For,
I know. You were so upset. I was like, come on, man. Like, that's why, you know, out of the 6 years in business, I've heard it all. Like, someone literally sued my parents because you've seen in some videos that I've posted, like the deteriorating sand
oh yeah.
in there. That's the foam. And like clients will literally like be like, oh, leave the foam. But in that sense, we couldn't leave the foam because it was deteriorating. And this was my dad running the business about 10, 12 years ago. And it was just 1-inch piece of foam on it. And my dad replaced it with a high-end piece of blue foam. It was nice. The woman sued my dad, said you replaced the foam when you shouldn't have. The foam was falling apart. My dad couldn't do anything about it.
That's insane.
Yeah, the woman wanted double the money back from what the couch was. And like
For pain and suffering.
she bought this couch cushion into the courthouse. Thankfully, we're a block from the courthouse, and we're just like, what? Like, and the judge was like, what the hell? Like, get out of here. So, I mean, it's just you deal with stuff like that in business. So, not bad.
Well,
Anyway.
Tell everybody where they can find you on social media.
All right. So, we're at Jammal Upholstery. So, it's at Jammal, JAMMAL_upholstery, UPHOLSTERY. Wow, there we go. I got it.
We got to read it off of your shirt.
There you go. I should have probably done the same thing.
Established 1963.
Yeah, established 1963. We got some cool shirts. If anybody wants to buy them, they're on sale. I also, honestly, I give them away too to customers if they like spend a certain amount of money. So I'm like, spend a certain amount of money and you get a free T-shirt. They feel like they're getting one over on me, I guess.
Yeah. But people love a freebie.
Check out the newest postings. New webbing.
We got so we're
New
making
foam.
like a bolt. What do you call it? like a bolche textured chair right now that we've been working on. So we're working on 2 modern ones that you just kind of saw the new webbing. I wanted to take a picture today of the banquette, but they're like, no, we're having professionals come in. Like,
I hate that.
And I'm like, this is so stupid.
Like this for me. Like,
I'm like, I'm just trying to put, I'm just trying to build up my followings, showing people what we can do.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, we got to wait for the professionals. I'm like,
I mean, that's impressive. We had it all together, and the shop is 70 feet. It's more than half the width of the shop. I mean, it's huge.
I don't know if my dad's ever done a banquette that big. And I was like, yeah, I feel this may be the biggest one we've ever done. And it was pretty epic. I like working with those guys. They give us some jobs. It's just a roller coaster getting there, like most clients.
Yep. Yeah,
Tell them to get us some meal passes.
They only changed the size about four times, right?
Yeah, oh my God.
43, 42, 47.
I went down last night to see them, and they're like, oh, it's too big. And I'm like, it's because we didn't put it together yet. And I'm like, don't worry about it. And I'm like, if anything, I'll cut it down. And I'm like, this is stupid. We don't need to cut this down. So
that's our alarm going on automatically.
Tell us to get the hell out of Dodge.
All right, man.
All right. Well, thanks for having me on again.
Yeah, thanks for coming on.
At Jammal Upholstery. If you need it, Jersey City, tri-state area, Central Jersey, we're out. Restaurants.
Hit them up. Detroit, California, wherever.
Petaluma.
Yeah, Sausalito, especially if you're giving me a spot to stay in Sausalito.
Yeah.
Then I'll come. I'll even pay for my flight.
Well, thanks, Jim. Thanks, everybody, for listening.
Take care.
As always, Rob and I thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next week. If you want to help support the podcast, you can leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. Again, we appreciate your support. Thanks for tuning in.